Back in 2. Boom! Greetings and salutations, beautiful people. Welcome to the Midday Show. Your boy Joey Options is still waddling in. You know, he's a slow mover these days. But he got caught up. He got caught up. Shout out to everybody, guys. Let's say hello to everybody who's joining us in the chat today. It is snowing outside, but it is Friday, so we're feeling good. We do have jobs, so it's not like it's Friday, we don't have jobs. You know what I'm saying? Anybody who watched Friday? Okay. Donkey Trader, Wyatt, Darwin, the OG. We got Boomstick, not Broomstick. Don't mistake it. Charlie Taff, we got Wyatt, Buffalo Soldier, Ronaldo, Omar, YV7584, and the Juan Padilla. What's happening over there, bro? Ah, that's why he's chirping you. Shout out to Bruce X, Max Bet, Aziz. We got Trader 604. We got Van Gill. Shout out to Remy. Indy is in the house. Shout out to King Clutch, Oslam, Johnny Forina. Probably butchered that. Shout out to Pizza Gang, Showtime VP, and 2 Rich Granny SO7. Shout out to my man, 808, Binja. Who else, man? We got 1320. Ooh. We got, who else, man? Pete Zapai, Outlaw Trader, joining us as well, Joey. Hojo San. Oh. Cross Country Curious. He wants to know what it's like going cross country, okay. Joey. It's not too much to ask. Danny Day Trizzy. And Dijon Mustard, we got the OG Los Palomos Hermanos. Yeah. And everybody else. Good morning to everybody, and good morning to you, my man.
Yeah, man. Good morning, good morning. Yeah, I got caught up with Jose talking options there in the lunchroom. Had to throw back an espresso as well, too. Oh. So, yeah, we're rocking and rolling.
That's why you're happy right now.
You know how the caffeine reacts in my body, my brother. So and then sure enough, in the latter half, I'll be like, I'll crash. But no, sure enough, guys, let's get right into things. Don't pull up my chart yet, SC. I'll tell you when, my friend. All right, let's get into things, guys. We're going to start it off with IBIT. Yes, your boy took a single attempt on IBIT. Unfortunately, it didn't work for us. We were in at the wrong place at the wrong time, but that's all right. It continued to climb a little bit higher. We take a 20-cent loss there on IBIT. Nothing to write home about whatsoever. Moving forward, what else did we trade? We took an attempt on SLV as well to the short side. So I'll get into a little bit more here. So that was my second trade. This being my third trade, this was my second trade. IBIT being my third trade, and I'll show you my first and my fourth here momentarily. But yeah, we took a little bit of a loss there on SLV. Too early. It did run into our target eventually, but that's neither here nor there. That didn't work out for us, so I showed you the 2 losses right off the get. But I started trading some IREN, Iris Energy right here, guys, and I was thinking short. Considering, right, down substantially, I thought we'd get a little bit of a continuation, and you can see that I'm short here from 38.20 roughly, and we get that move down to 36.54. So almost $2 ITM. And I'm like, hey, this thing I'm looking for 36s and then 35, 34, so on. But when we got that rebound, it printed a 5-minute hammer candle. And I'm like, oh, watch out for this. Let's see what we got going on IREN. And it was approximately right here, guys, or certainly that's silver. It was right here. And I'm like, oh, I have to get out of this break even if it comes back against me. And sure enough, that's what we did, right? So we start the day relatively flat on our first attempt. This is a break-even trade. Maybe you lock in a couple pennies, whatever. Then we take 2 losses, one on SLV, one on IBIT. But what did we do? We just kept our composure and we stayed cool. And we are fortunate enough to catch this breakout. Largest size on the day and substantially more from a risk to reward standpoint. I'm holding on to 5% of my position. I would have liked to reload there, but I wasn't sitting at the desk. That's totally fine. You're not going to see it because I'm only going to use that as my last out. But from 39.74, we get that partial all the way to 40.66. So a little bit more than $1, and I'm risking 20-50 cents at this point. 25 to 50 cents max on this one. So we get that move, and then we also get our last out at 42.20. So we take some of partials out there, but also what happened was that I took those losses. I'm like, all right, that's cool. Let's wait for a quality setup. And then you can see those consistent higher lows being formed on IREN. And then we are fortunate enough to catch this breakout, up 5% at its peak. Now, let's move forward. What were we looking at here today? TQQs, SPY, SLV, IREN, and IBIT. Those were the only ideas. You can see, well, you probably can't see, but IREN being the #1, let's go to this one here, Assassino, being the #1 idea and just game planning here this morning, something that we've been doing. So yeah, we're fortunate enough to partake in this. We caught that breakout and we broke through that previous pre-market high. That was my primary target. Did I get a little partial happy? A little bit, because I'm like, whoa, this is really starting to pick up. And you can see by the lower time frame volume profile, the volume by time profile that is that we really started to stair step higher. And at that point, I'm like, hey, let's rock and roll and let's start taking some out and lock in some of those unrealized gains, sitting on 5% here on IREN. Maybe we'll find somewhere to reload here, guys.
Sounds good, Joey. All right, getting into SMX now. Let's go. Looking for a hold generally at around 1450. The Halt level's around 1458 last time I saw it. We're in at the unlucky number of 13. So 10 EMA on the 5, right here, right now, 15 and change. VWAP, 1450. Let's watch as this one dilly-dallies at around that level. Into 14 it goes. I'm going to give it to 1450. Let's go ahead and throw that stop in now so we can kind of take the subjectivity out of it. And I'm going to look for a possible hold at VWAP. It holds at VWAP, shows me its propensity to go up. We're going to add into the position. Up 78%, but looking like there's some selling here. Back into the teens we go. Let's set up some profit takers into the 30s, into the 40s. Let's see if we can get a nice move back up, possibly test 16. There's certainly a break of structure, okay? But we're finding support at a key level in and around the 10 EMA. Also, the candle at 1020, the candle at 1030, and then the breakout candle at 1040 all had trouble with this 15 level. So let's see if it works locally. If it doesn't, that's all right. We'll start 0 for 1, but we're not going to allow this to kind of break through the volume weighted average price and then DCA into an oblivion. Still showing me 1510. We're in at 13s. There's a seller at 10 that we can't shake. It doesn't look like there's immediate buying here. There is orange on the tape bringing us into the mid-teens. SMX up 81%, 82. There's the 20s. Can we get a little bit higher? Into the 29s we go. Selling into the $0.25. Couldn't quite make it up into that third of a dollar quite yet. There we go. There it is. There's the first print. Okay. Now let's look for the continuation. We haven't done anything yet. Just because we got a print means diddly squat. We're looking for a move here. Now this candle has about 2 more minutes left before it closes. So off this current candle right now, embarrassing. It's not showing me the mouse overs, but that's fine. 14 mid to low 80s is the low of this candle. So we'll have to see how the other candle opens, the one that's going to open in a minute and change. That doesn't look like there's immediate buying yet. We're trying to keep an eye on the 1 to see if we're putting any higher lows on the 1-minute chart. Probably behooves me to throw this on my multi-time frame analysis. So we'll load that up on the side chart there and wait as it loads up. Continuing to watch over here, there's the 23 print again. No continuation back into the 30s though. So it looks like there's a lot of selling here on SMX in the mid-15s. We're in the money, but it feels like this one could be breaking down. Into 29 we go. Selling at every freaking level. Holy cow, man. There it goes into the 40s. Are we looking for continuation now into the 50s, mid-40s, Joseph options? No continuation though. We're still south, by the way, of the 10 EMA on the 1. So I'm looking at my multi-time frame charts. I've got 4 on there, the 1, the 5, the 15, and the hour. We're going to try to look at multi-time frame analysis now to kind of, there we go, Joseph, into the 50s. There's mid-50s. Let's go ahead and set up in the high 60s. And then we're also going to wait high up. 17.25 in case we get an aggressive price spike, but I might be, kind of grasping at straws there, wanting a little bit too much. Into the 60s we go. Looking for continuation. Can we get 70s? 6, 7, 6, 7. All right. 50s, we're having trouble with 50s. This one is a little spready though, guys. 13.25 million shares traded on the day. It's got, a decent spread on it, 7, 8 pennies. I've seen it as wide as 15. Try not to take out too much too quickly here, looking for continuation, but it does feel like we're getting a little bit of resistance in the 50s, 60s. There it is again, looking for a move in the 70s, guys. We're not getting any prints in the 70s, keeping my eye on the book and the tape, looking for a flash. Nope. Not quite yet, Joey. What do you got on your side?
Yeah, absolutely, man. We're looking at this. So my boy, 1320 Wolf, Joey. could you go over price action versus options expiration days, i.e. put and call open interest affecting price as dealers hedge? Absolutely. I'll give you my insight on it. We've gone over these kind of scenarios on multiple occasions, and what I'm looking for, and the example that I'm going to use here is NVDA, because we've seen this quite often. So leading into an earnings report, or even outside of that, what I've noticed is that when you have massive supply zones, and what I mean by is like you have a substantial or an outlying amount of open interest, that needs to be absorbed, right? It's essentially a supply zone. So if there's no demand north of it, it makes it really difficult for the underlying asset to breach those levels. So when I see a massive amount, like 100,000, 150,000 on an example, say like NVDA, I'm automatically thinking short until all of that is absorbed and we've broken through that, right? And how do we tell? Well, maybe you just don't understand what I'm getting at. So essentially what I'm getting at here is when you see what that person said?
Yeah, I'm the one. I thought I was the one that could speak, man.
Yeah, well, I know. That's what I was thinking.
I'm a little jealous here,
I don't know, man. Well, open those ears up, my friend, and start taking notes. Where's your notebook? Because, where's your notebook there? No, in all seriousness. So what we want to look for.
What notebook is that, Joey? Is it college rule?
Studio media, my boy.
Studio media.
Yeah, you know how we do around here. Anyways, back to where we go. Dollarama, my boy. Yes, it is Dollarama.
It's just like I like your responses make me chuckle, my boy. I love it.
All right, we'll get right back into things. So essentially, let's pull it up an example as considering we're talking about it. So I've seen it on multiple occasions, and we're going back to the NVDA example. Is that until we break through and then you really start to see the open interest really start to dwindle and contracts being closed, you can look for potential shorts. And Gaurav and I and individual traders have looked through this on multiple occasions, and the fact where it's like, hey, we've reacted and we've rejected this. So let's see if we got any forms of open, it's going to do that to us today.
Yeah, well, it's been doing it to me for a while now, Joey, so it's a little bit of time. You can take off a little
bit. We got it here now.
All right.
So if this was a little bit bigger, I mean, like 190 is okay at 85,000. So getting into things is that, like, say you have a day where you rally from 185 and then you start to see price action slowly start to cool down, and it looks like you're going to curl over around 189.5, and you run into the 190s and you start seeing more topping signals. What I look for is that, like, hey, we have a bunch of supply, and then you have the hedges not wanting these contracts to close in the money because they're essentially short these contracts. You see price start to be pushed lower. And it's the exact same thing with the other way. For puts, if you see a put wall, we're classifying these as put and call walls just due to the high levels of open interest, is that, say NVDA dropped to 175.5, and then it starts to slowly curl around, and how price reacts around that level is like, hey, we want these contracts to expire out of the money, and then you can find bounces off of those specific supply zones. So I'm not just going to pick any random number and be like, hey, that's a supply zone. No, it has to stand out. It has to be substantially larger than the rest of its class, right? So through the 180s and through the 190s, and even at 200, like, I don't see NVDA climbing 16 points anytime soon. And if it gets relatively close and that open interest continues to grow, as we're heading into that expiration cycle, I'm going to look for how price specifically reacts around that zone. And if it starts to push lower, then that can set you up as a potential short. And that's how I've really looked at open interest in these call and put walls. And you'll see them a lot bigger in certain underlyings, that is, but look for the outlying supply zones, and then you can build a trade off of that. Same thing with this 68,000 at that 180 put, right? Like, that's right around that 180 mark. We've been bouncing off of that. We're up 7% today here in NVDA. We've bounced off of some lows. These could be coming into play, but you want to correlate price with some of these areas and strike prices in options world.
All right, all done with SMX. Looking at getting back in. Trying to keep my eye out on this one here for continuation. New candle on the 5 just opened up. Let me see if the other 5-minute can. Okay, so that's a 5:15. All right, so prior bar low, 1521. Prior bar high, 1581. This current candle is just basically, that can't be 1581. That can't be. That's a close, sorry, 1612. So 1612 prior bar high, prior bar low, 1521. We're showing 1580s now. I'm looking here for, look, to me, it breaks trend above 1650. but I think I can scalp it if I get in here. My only concern is the bottom drops off because we still haven't taken trend back. I'm talking, of course, about SMX up 80, 89, 80, 90%. Here it comes into the mid-80s. It's been basically putting a lot of resistance around here. The mid-80s have been tough. The highest we've been up, as I said, 1612. That's prior bar high. There it is, 16 again. Oh, wow, it just murked that 1612 high. Comes back into 16. Do we hold 16? Getting in. Let's give this one the old college try. 15, okay, sorry. Just give me a sec to look at my levels. 1521 prior bar low, 1521. We got 14s on. Let's go ahead and set up something over here in the mid-20s. We're going to go in the mid-30s as well. We're looking for continuation into the $0.50. I feel like the $0.50 is kind of where the shelf is, but you never really know with these ones. They zig and zag so much. So the reason I'm throwing out my orders here is because, well, I don't want to get caught offside if this one price spikes up and goes without me. So zigging and zagging, oh, this is not a good looking candle here on the one. It looks like it could be, what's it called? A bull trap, dragging me into that long only to drop back down into the 15 3/4 here. Oh, wow, that was a big sell off there. Right back down, just a break prior bar low. It's holding prior bar low. It's holding it. All right, it's gonna lose it. It lost it, I'm out. So we'll give back that trade. Yeah, tough one there. Kind of got a little gung-ho with before it broke structure, but it almost did. It kind of did anyway, but I think I was probably seeing what I wanted to see. This is the candle that kind of lured me in. That's the topping tail candle that kind of is the bull trap there, the high of which was 16 1/3. It definitely got above that 1612, but yeah, not a good entry there. There are others, though, that I want to bring to your attention as this one continues to set up. DVLT, thank you for Neil for pointing this one out. This is still south of $1, but it is working up quite aggressively. 78 1/3 is the area high, showing 77 1/5 now. Not a bad look on DVLT. It's not up big. It's up 20.5%. Super chat. Oh, thank you. DVLT. Oh, perfect. The Zen Zombie. Perfect look there because this is what we're looking at right now. This is getting a bit extended. I'd like for it to pull back into the 10 EMA, which is just a little bit above 75 pennies right now. And it has found support basically on every retracement that it's had onto the 10 EMA. Let me show you exactly what I mean here. There is the green line, the 10 EMA, hold double bottom right there, 955.10. Does it again with that doji candle, just a skosh above that 10 EMA right at 1030. And then it pulls in for a 4 candle consolidation here. Doesn't quite make it down into the 10 EMA, but it got a lot closer. So the point is, let's see if we can get a little bit closer to that 10 exponential moving average and then maybe weasel our way in. MSTX, so this is an MSTR long. I just want to see if it's leveraged, and if so, how much? Give me an opportunity here. Show yourself, MSTX. It's not showing itself, Joey. It's not good. MSTX. One sec. Let me just find out, guys. It is 200. Okay, so it's 2 times daily leverage. Super kind of cheap. $2 1/3 right now, so you can size in substantially. And this one's also had a lot of respect for that 10 EMA, so I'd probably be basing a lot of my trades on that in the same way that I'd look at DVLT. There's also CRWV ETF over here, another probably leveraged ETF, CRWG. This is two times as well. Very clean uptrend over here, done even coming back into the 10 EMA. And the reason I'm looking at these is because, well, in the world of small cap gappers lately, the pick has been super slim. So we're taking some of these leveraged ETFs long, and we've been doing a decent job at it. We did a good job with silver and some others yesterday. So that's what I'm looking at right now, looking at weaseling into DVLT as well as SMX. Go red on SMX as a result of that last trade, but we'll make it back.
All right, good stuff, man. Now I know always why you're warm. I had a double espresso, and I'm like overheating right now. Yeah, I mean, all right. It's our boy. Hello. It's our boy Dan. Danny boy, man. You gotta meet this guy. He's absolutely hilarious. I love his sense of humor. All right, morning, boys. Guess who just landed the night shift security job at Foxborough Stadium? If you guessed Danny boy, you're wrong. I used the name Frederic Von Yummy Pants on the job application. Let's go. All right. I mean, hey, man, what is the ticker? Number SCDI. Number SCDI. SCDI, man. Go check it out on, what are you on, the Nasdaq or the AMX or something along those lines, man? On the DAC. Yeah, exactly. So good luck there, Danny boy. I know you've been crushing it. Thank you very much. This guy is absolutely hilarious. Back into the market. I was thinking as a potential short here on SLV, attempt number 2. We didn't catch the peak, but what we're starting to see is a little bit of buying pressure right at the volume weighted average price, and Bitcoin has been a nice steady grind higher. I got out right at the lower end of the range, and it was a mistake. I wanted to re-engage, but I just never got that opportunity or the price in which I was looking for. 39.55 we're now trading at, and I was in around 38.62. So a nice move to the top side in Bitcoin. And I figured just with yesterday's price action, there's a lot of volume stepping in. Maybe we're starting to cool down a little bit, but I'm not going to call it the bottom or anything else along those lines. Why? Let's pull things up. I'm going to engage on this, and it's going to be with multiple names. I'm not going to say, hey, this is it, the market, we bought the dip, the market's going to rally again. It potentially could. But first things first, I want to see some trend lines start to break, all right? And then that's when we're going to start to engage in some more and get involved in some of these stronger names. And I think it might take a little bit longer than what we're expecting, right? This is just a solid breath. Don't forget, in down markets, we can get rebound days as well. So if you ask me, this is still fully intact. Once we break this, and I mean, we still haven't even broke this. This is like waterfall type price action here. So once we're on the backside of some trends, yeah, you're not going to get the bottom or anything along those lines. But what I believe is that we're putting ourselves in the right place at the right time. If you're on the backside of things, you wait for things to slowly curl over and then start trading higher. So that's my game plan here in Bitcoin. And it goes for the same in Robinhood. Right, like Gaurav saying, hey, I'm buying these names, but I want to ask ourselves, like, yeah, this is all great. Like, we're getting this rebound day where we're up almost double digits in a lot of them, but have we broken trend? And I think Neil's going to be asking that question as well, too. Have we broken trend, and are we ready to start to climb? I mean, back to the top side, you're down 50% in Robinhood. I get it, but there's nothing wrong. Like, there's 30 points from here to there, but at least I believe that I'm putting myself at the right place at the right time, because if we are going to continue to climb higher, if I'm in at $100 or I'm in on the backside of the trend, then I think I'll be positioned relatively well. And it's the same with Palantir as well. Palantir, still waterfall type price action. You have a high of around $210, a little bit less than that, and you're down 37% from peak to trough. Now, I believe once those trends are broken, then we can really start to get involved. And that's the same thing with Netflix. Jumped in a little bit too early at $90. We're trading around $81. That downtrend has still not broken yet. And I'm ready to put a little bit more into this name, right? We can draw multiple trends, but it hasn't been broken yet. And then when we're on the backside, I think that's a good time to get involved.
All right. Our friend there, Saranj, asking about Bull. Says as follows: anything on Snapchat and Webull got struck. So Webull, call volume, that's all I'm saying about that for today's entry. I'm not seeing anything from a while here on Webull on my blotter. The last thing that was major was on the 27th when they introduced zero commission trading on pro football games. That's really all I see on that. That's on Bull. Snapchat obviously had earnings the other day. Where's Snap at? It's up 2%, 1.95%. Amazon, no, I'm looking for Snapchat here. You got Barclays maintaining Snapchat with a coverage of overweight and a $15 price target, but that is a reduction in price target from 16 to 15. Stifle as well with a hold and a $15, $5.50 price target, pardon me. Looking Stifle, Barclays, Stifle. So it's just those two that were chiming in today, but probably a whole bunch of different ones that were chiming in once they did report earnings. Those are two that I'm not really gung-ho on, and got to tell you the truth. Webull, ever since it IPO'd, has been kind of a dud. It really hasn't lived up to some of the others that we've seen, like SoFi and on Robinhood. Those seem to be kind of eating its cake at the moment, but yeah, sorry I couldn't be more help on that, but nothing new that I can see anyway with regard to those two on the day, other than the analyst upgrades. So here's the deal. With SMX, I'm still quite interested in getting into this. Bovin, by the way, DNA is about to take out $10, man. DNA is going over here. So we'll get to that one because I'm going to wait for SMX to break structure because it's still basically uninterrupted lower highs, and that downtrend line has is basically unbroken. So DNA, much slower of a mover. What do we got here in terms of volume on DNA? We have 1.1 million shares. It's a little bit south of $10, up 18 and 4/5, a bit more than that. 997 high, showing 989 now. 10 EMA on the 5, 970. Consolidation level 960 to 965. That could be the buy zone from the 10 EMA to that consolidation level there. Closing print, I think, was around 8 1/3 from yesterday. So that's DNA. Not a bad look. But what I'm talking about here about SMX breaking structure is this. It's just really not breaking the lower highs, even if it does, breach the lower high like it did over here. Look at that 11 o'clock candle. Technically takes out the opening print of the 1055 candle. But what I'm looking for is a decided green candle to break through this trend line. Until I see that, I'm going to steer clear of SMX, even though it's the best looking one right now. What's up, man?
No, Silver just took a dive. Like we got involved. Yeah. I mean, it flushed pretty quick. I mean, from 60 cents.
Oh, lost VWAP.
Yeah, exactly. And just really started to pick up its momentum. So guys, you can see where I've been long in IREN there from 39.72. And now we'll head over to SLV and see what we got going on over there. I mean, it really started to accelerate at the break of the volume weighted average price. Let's see if we can get a little bit lower. My primary target on this one is going to be around 67.36. I think we can head towards this pivot, but we also have to take into consideration this trend line, right? So we're running into that zone right now. If we break it, then maybe we're going to be in the right position. We don't want this to close as a hammer candle because we know these signals with SLV relatively work relatively well, right? And it kind of did there. So we're going to have to be patient and see. We'll look for this rebound, and if it gets too aggressive and comes back right into our entry price, we could just take a break-even stop out, and maybe it's going to take a little bit more time than what we're expecting for this to curl over. That uptrend is still fully intact, but if we're fortunate enough to get a 5-minute candle to open up south of 67.92, around $68, then we might be okay. So, but it was a pretty quick move to the downside there in SLV. You can see we're right at 68.60s, flush right down to 68, and I want to wait a little bit more, but you can see buyers really starting to engage right now. That might not be the best sign. It's always best. It's always good when things work right away, but we're not going to complain considering we're in IREN. That's worked for us, and this is going to be attempt number 2 on SLV. Downtrend still intact as well, so we'll look at the positive things until we break that 69, but I'll get out break even just in case it does come back all the way up here, and then maybe we can re-engage at a better price. So we'll take maybe 1 loss and 1 break even on this bad boy as we're starting to get that rebound there. Gorev in SLV. What a dog. Volume cooling down though. Let's see if the volume can work. That's the frustrating thing, right? You get those clean flushes, and then you get those pullbacks that are just like when you're working with pennies, you don't give yourself much room. You know what I mean? It's like, oh, okay, well, why are they so aggressive? But in the grand scheme of things, it's not really. Los Pollos, I hope BTC gets to 74K today. It will be a bullish engulfing candle, he says. Joseph Birch Music, IRE is a good 2x ETF that I use regularly on IREN. It's $5.87 a share currently. Okay, I like knowing that. 2x for the same total dollar amount. Yeah, fair enough, brother. I appreciate that. So there comes silver. We'll hop out. Let's see if we can hold these support levels. I don't want to get out too prematurely, but again, I don't really care for this thing to work overly well, even though I would like it to. But if you're going to continuously trade within this channel, then I don't really want any part of you. I want a clean price action like we were getting in IREN earlier. That breakout was showing itself. You have that ascending wedge starting to be formed, and then sure enough, you get that volume stepping in. So a lot of participants, a lot of volume in SLV, and then that's why you kind of see these ebbs and flows. So a nice clean flush to the downside right there. Let's see if we can breach 68 on SLV.
All right, we have to go to Adair at the big desk for the crypto segment.
Oh no.
Bitcoin bouncing back. So yesterday here, just for some context, opening exactly at 73,000, closing at 62,200. Low of day I'm seeing here is around 59,900 for Bitcoin today. High about 10,000 points above that, around 69,775. So let's see if we can get above that 70K level. But again, if we surpass 70K and then move into 73K, we will have completely wiped out yesterday's move to the downside. So really nice recovery here for BTC. We'll take a look at Ethereum as well, which is now back above that 2,000 level, even if just barely. So nice recoveries across the board for crypto. In terms of crypto unrelated stories. There is one. It's not major, but kind of an interesting note here. It looks like China, or rather Chinese financial agencies and watchdogs, have issued a notice reasserting their 2021 ban on crypto trading and stablecoins. This includes cross-border activity and apparently real-world asset tokenization is going to be covered by this as well. So again, China continuing its crypto ban. Nothing big here. By far the big story on Bitcoin today and in crypto in general is this massive recovery from yesterday's sell-off. Back to you.
So, you have anything there? I got out. I didn't mean to get out, but it did come right back to our break-even price there on SLV. So we'll dock a little bit of a W, nothing substantial, a couple of pennies or so.
All right, SMX right into VWAP, guys, and it's not holding it strictly, and it's still continuing to move down. Unbroken downtrend right now on SMX, so a bit of a tougher look there. Yeah, this one's it's going to have to set up a little bit better. Didn't really hold VWAP. Now, this consolidation area at around 1015, I don't want to jump in quite yet, from 1015 to about 1040, there was this consolidation area top, the range of which was pretty wide, about 1350 from the closing print up to about 1450. So let's see if this one can kind of hold a VWAP and then start making some higher highs and higher lows. Now, I did work in to a couple of other trades, entry-level position here in DVLT. I'm looking at averaging into 76 and 75. 76 because that's a 10 EMA. 75 is the consolidation area from 1035 to the breakout level at 11. So I like that area. For that reason, MSTX as well. I worked into this one, looking for a move back into 240s. It did this kind of double bottom from around 1050 to 1055 off the 10 EMA and then went and made new highs. So we'll keep tabs on that. Back to SMX as it bounces off VWAP quite aggressively over here. So, I should have definitely given this one a little bit more room. That's over $1 that it just bounced off VWAP, but it's still not holding structure. Let's see if it can break above that trend line quite decisively. If it does, then we'll get back into this one, but we're still technically putting in those lower highs. And this is kind of what I'm looking at there, even though that could have been a great scalp trade off the volume weighted average price. Yep, unbroken. And it's kind of lower high trend there. So that's what we'll look at, and we'll continue to wait on that one. Let's throw in some orders here on DVLT. I'm going to continue to wait at around, I'm going to wait 76s, excuse me, 0.76. Wait there, and then we'll also wait at 0.75. All right, it's breaking out here, so, well, we're going to have to put some orders. I'm going to put orders at 80. We'll sell at 80. We'll see if that one can take out the day high. CRWG is the one that's really going. It's the only one I'm not involved in. And it's like at the day high right now, 367 for the CoreWeave 2x leverage ETF into 367 high. It's up about 37%. Very good trade on this one. It's so strong. There has been no red candles since 11 o'clock. So that's over half an hour now on the 5-minute chart of no red candles. So look there, back to SMX because that's still trading at around 15.5, looking for that move, a clear move into 16 to kind of break structure. And then we'll take this shot again for a possible $18 break. It's got a 1782 high. So there's most of the selling, though, it came around, I want to say 17.25, because the topping tail candle is into 1782, but the closing print on that was around 17.25. So yeah, definitely more selling south of that 17.5 that we need to keep an eye on. DVLT dropping back down. Let's have a look at this one. Still nothing in terms of ads. We're looking for 76 and 75, as I mentioned. Star Cheese, Circle. Let me have a look at Circle. Give me a sec to load up the side chart over here. Let's see how Circle's doing on the day. Assuming, much like everything else, it's probably recovering. Yeah, it's seen a lot better days. Wow, since the high to right now, Circle's lost 83% of its value since the highs that we put in mid-June. That's a bit of a tougher level. Let's look intraday on CRCL. What do we got? We got a flat top break brewing here at 56.50. You've got an ascending wedge, clean hold off the volume weighted average price. Then it double bottoms there at around 15, I want to say 40. But there's a whole bunch of selling every time you get into that 56.5. So this one could be a flat top break. I would say try to build your position towards the area lows for 56.5 break. Not a bad look at all here on CRCL in terms of chart patterns. Whether or not it ends up flat top breaking decidedly and clears 57, you'll have to wait and see. But it looks like it's moving right now, actually. Let's throw this on the watch list here so we can see exactly where the price is. Yeah, we're at local highs. So the only other high was the 1045 candle, 5609. And then this one was a 55.56 on that candle, 56.71. So this is the high of the day right there, that 1045 candle. But we're pretty close. We're at 56.5 right now. So there you go. Good aggression here, up 12.5%, 12.33% circle. Not a bad look at all, Joe.
All right, man. Good looks there, brother. I mean, so here's this wedge we're starting to form, and this is what I was looking at. So, I mean, we might experience a little bit of chop right now. We'll be patient and wait and see. Gaurav, I know you're going to like this right at the volume-weighted average price. I think sentiment gauge is really key in this here, though. If we do open up on the 5-minute and break out, then maybe you get a little bit of a continuation, considering the market is slowly grinding higher, which is good, right? You have that upward channel. But I'm going to be honest here. This just seems relatively weak. I just get the vibes of that we're kind of rebounding from the aggressive selling over the past couple of days. And, you know, like just with the strength within these price action candles, I wouldn't be surprised at some point, and I'm not saying it's going to be today, you get sellers to kind of push price right back down. That's the vibes that it could be giving me, and I could be totally wrong. And for the sake of all of our long-term portfolios, I hope that I am. But that's just kind of the gut feeling that I have. So
What's
yeah,
your gut feeling about?
I just feel like
market?
this is I just feel like it's kind of like it's a rebound day. It's a relatively
People got to take profits. The short's got to take profits.
Yeah,
too,
exactly.
bro.
Right, a breath. So correct. So a lot of people, Minnesota trader, agreeing with me on that front. Because if it was going to be a complete rebound, I think there'd be a little bit more strength. There's still a little bit of that ebb and flow with that channel trading. The 5-minute candles aren't overly aggressively strong, so I'm just keeping my eyes out on that. We'll be cautiously optimistic as well too to see what we got going on here. But yeah, IREN really working for us, guys. We at the peak of this name, we're at $3 on that front, so not too bad. Again, I only have 5% remaining. Looking to re-engage potentially here in SLV, but the more price kind of compresses here, the more I like our chances. Do I want right at the volume-weighted average price? Of course, because that's going to give me a really tight risk to reward. If we break through and then open up on the backside of this trend, then we can just get out right away. But it looks like we're starting to crack a little bit lower here in SLV. Bitcoin continuing to climb. We have IREN continuing to climb. The TQs is at its high of the day. The SPY is at the high of the day as well too. And there goes silver right to the downside, guys. Let's take a look at how the group is doing. I'm going to be honest with you, and you know I love you all, but I'm going to be frank here, just Sharif.
Yes, sir.
Because that's my middle name. It is not, but Frank. Tesla, NVDA, Big Bear, AI. I don't know how much I love y'all pick. How did you guys choose these ones? I'm curious about them. Tech trade slowly cooling down there. So we'll see what we got going on that front. NEO, FCX Freeport, McMorman up 3% there. Chat. No green ones, man. You guys got to perform a little bit better. They're obviously pulling your tail and pulling your leg on that one. Ramin, Netflix, let's see if we can get a rebound there. Sharif taking that third place spot. Him and I are neck and neck right here. Just one day I'm in third, the next day he is. But Northrop Grumman really performing well, up 12.25 there, my friend. Obi is just lighting the lamp left, right, and center. He's just blowing this competition out of the water right now. Him and I were talking the other night about it. I said, watch out, though, for any form of a market rally. But Circle, I think he's okay. And Sidhu, maybe we'll see what he's got going on there. But like, he's double digits across the board on all of his picks. Adara officially going green on all 3 of her picks as well too. But we have, oh no, that was you, man. I got a little giddy. But hey, we have Walmart up 10% and JP Morgan starting to slowly gain some ground as well. But CrowdStrike, I said that at the beginning. I'm like, hey man, this name's gonna either give me minus 30% or we're gonna gain 30% on this boy, on this bad boy. But CrowdStrike not looking too good so far.
All right, just talking above in about LIMN. It is making a move above 2 and above the volume weighted average price. LIMN, that holdover from yesterday. It's not my fave. Continuing to watch DVLT here as it continues to move up. I'm waiting for a profit taker at 80. We're in at 79. Let's see how this one does. But I'm really focusing here on SMX. I'm not taking any trades on it right now. I'm looking for a break of structure. It keeps going in, trying to test prior bar high, fails it, makes another move down into VWAP. Now, we saw what this one did at VWAP. It rocketed up over $1, but it is losing it and losing it quickly. SMX could be all over here for SMX. I might have to remove it off the side chart. It is losing VWAP really aggressively. Here's 14, limit down, 1357, guys. There is the red rectangle on my level 2, 1357, 87s now. We're really bleeding our own blood here. There's buyers at 14-ish, so it's keeping it up. We'll see if that limit down resets and gives us a new price. Mr. Ducats, I don't short these small cap gappers, at least not yet. So we're going to keep an eye on the market, see how the market is looking for the longs. It's been a very quiet week for the longs in the small cap gapper world. You know, if that persists, much like it did, I believe, in 2022 and early 23, then we'll have to flip short. That's really the only other time that I've really taken the small cap gappers short. And needless to say, it's been a long time since then. So, and that's another reason to join us on Wednesdays at 1 o'clock every week. Luis Barbato is going to be on, and he shorts these small cap gappers for a living, and he's pretty good at them. So we'll be trying to learn through osmosis off him. But for the moment, I will not be shorting it. So we're going to keep continuing here to watch SMX. Yeah, this break of structure is quite bad. Now, the only saving grace could be this range that we put in, I want to say from 1015 until the breakout at 1040, that holds up. Right, which is fine. It holds up there, great, but it'll have to get above VWAP, and it'll have to decidedly break the trend line that I've drawn over here for SMX. I won't get in unless there's a decided break of the trend line, and we're not getting that. We're not even close to getting that at the moment. So let's leave this one alone. DVLT continuing to move up here, 79.5. There it is. I'm waiting for 80s on this one. We added a couple of times, so let's see what this one has to offer. There is 79.75, not quite into the 80 penny level yet. And then MSTX, I added a couple of times on this one. So a clean hold here, the third of a dollar, as well as the 10 EMA on the 5. So we'll have to see if MSTR, which is obviously the principal instrument off which this one trades, continues to move up. There's DVLT knocking on the door of 80 now, 79.99. There's 80, but it's going to have to cross for me to get printed. They're selling at 80s, and nothing is coming off the gateway. That tells me that the selling is, at least for the moment, a hidden seller. We're going to wait at 82s next for a nice possible move up. So look at this, guys, and this is what I mean. Like, look at the size. See how the size is not moving, but look at the size that's coming in on the tape. Each of these is like 500, 700, 1,000, 3,300 shares coming in. Nothing getting taken off the tape, though. So that tells you that the selling is an iceberg order, a hidden seller. What I really don't understand, though, is I was always taught that iceberg orders are last in priority to get filled. If that's the case, then how come they're coming off the level 2, but the posted size is not coming off? So that's kind of what I've never really understood. Maybe I'll check with chat, or if anybody else has the answer in the chat, I'd love an explanation, because theoretically, if you're putting, like, I can hide my orders, right? There's the print there, good move. I can hide my orders, I can designate it to be hidden. But I was always told if you do that, then you're not gonna get the cleanest fills because you're gonna be less in priority, bottom in priority. And then we see here that there's all sorts of posted size on all these gateways, but the size that's coming off is not the size on the gateways. It's obviously a hidden order. So I kind of don't understand it, but that's my problem there. If you guys have an explanation, just tag me, explain that. Otherwise, I'll check with chat. Willis Addison, SLV, get off the choppa, added more, $70 puts, February 11th. That's your world, Joey.
Get to the choppa. All right, Willis Addison added more 70 puts, February 11th, expiration cycle. I mean, on its trajectory right now, do we love it? Not necessarily. We did break that downtrend, in which I was referring to earlier. So let's see how we react around that specific zone. Is there going to be a re-engage in the short, or is the buyers going to dominate this session? I mean, you got $1 before those contracts are OTM, unless you're selling those. I don't know if you're selling those contracts, but it sounds like you're just bearish on it right now. But Bitcoin continuing to climb, right? 39.57, IREN up to 42.95. A lot of people talking about Walmart right now, saying it's up to 130. Oh. So let's go WMT, man. I thought that was Walmart up there. VST, Rocket Lab climbing higher as well too. So it seems like it's a long day in the overall market. Let's pull up Walmart and see what we got going on. Yes, 130.20. Some strong price action here in Walmart there, guys. Boom. What's the
What's up?
The rollbacks. What's the saying there? What's the little theme song? Oh, it's not. Yeah, same. You know what? The
sail.
Yeah, the sail with the little yellow smiley face, jumping around everywhere there. But yeah, Walmart looking pretty good, guys. In all reality, CrowdStrike not so much. We'll go just talk our own book a little bit here for a second.
Okay.
A big time engulfing print there on CrowdStrike. Maybe this could be the lower end, but we'll see. But JPM, let's see what JPM is up. Still slightly, a nice strong day from our boy JP Morgan and Chase. So 1572, 315.72 up to 322. I like this. We like it a lot. And then sure enough, maybe we can climb up to 337. I like the banks this year. If we're looking for a flight to safety and getting out of tech, I think the banks will start to play catch up. And we know that with Walmart, right? People heading into the staples. This is a big time uptrend. I think we can head up into 150 here on Walmart, maybe even 200 by the end of the year. That would be crazy. Yeah, but that's what we got going on right now. IREN slowly pulling back. SLV broke that, so I'm glad we got out when we were supposed to. We'll pull it up here momentarily. So boom, there it is. It doesn't break through that 68.40 mark, bounces off it on multiple occasions, and then sure enough, you get that climb a little bit higher there in SLV. You're up 3.5%, a little bit more than that, Sharif.
All right, man. I saw a doji candle there at 14 on SMX, so I got in aggressive, and it popped up. We almost took $1 there, but it's coming back into the 40s. I got 7s on right now. I have a super tight stop below 14, so we're risking like literally 7 pennies on this trade, and we've already made some back. I took 1.5 times the position. Here it comes into the $0.25. Anything below 14, I'm out. It's really that simple. We're looking for a scalp. Here it comes into 14, 20. Let's just watch over here to see if it loses the bid. Continuing to watch. Good move, by the way, guys, on DVLT. We're taking prints there. Just wanting to see if it loses 10. If it loses 10, I'm just going to flatten out prematurely so we don't even give anything back. But I'm looking for a hold. And it's basically another topping tail inverse hammer candle here on the 5. But there it goes right back into the 60s. Okay, happy I packed the patience. Seller at 65, 68 now. Looking for continuation. We're not getting the continuation, but it is a doji candle. At 14, that's what lured me in. There goes 15 into the local area high. Now it is decidedly above the volume weighted average price. Looking for more. Let's cancel the order there. I'm going to look for a lot loftier over here. Let's go ahead. 15 1/3 we're going to wait for. And if it comes, it comes. Doesn't. Fine. 15.88 will be the one after that. There's 15, selling at 15, aggressive selling at 15. Into 96 we go. Looking for a decided and a clean break of 15, which we're not getting. That's fine. Let's pack the patience on that one. Stops are in play. DVLT continues to melt up. Not a bad look there. How's MSTX doing? Couple of prints on this one, but a bunch of unfilled prints to the north side. We're going to pack the patience here on MSTX, but as I see it, DVLT into another day high. There it goes into 81.50. Looking for 82s now. We took, obviously, you have to take bigger size on these sub $1 names, so we'll have a bunch of different outs that we can take, so we'll pack the patience on those. Back to SMX, sorry guys to jump from all three, but we're trading all three, got to manage all of them. Looking for a clean break of 15, and that hasn't been forthcoming, Joseph Options. Right back into 15 we go, and right back into the selling. There it goes into 20s. We're looking for a third now. The fifth of $1 rejecting. There's the $0.25 now. We've got 7s. Examine. All right, so here's what we're going to do, Joseph. We're going to wet the beak into the 20s because we're not immediately getting into the 30s. Well, we're not in the 20s anymore. Into the teens we go. So a bit more of a pullback. We still haven't broken structure, by the way. So if you're really looking for those lower highs, you're still getting them. So we'll take it out there in the teens. So that means the next order will have to be a bit loftier. So we'll go ahead and wait at 88. Down below 15 we go again, though. So SMX, even though it was a beautiful doji candle at 14, followed by a very, very green candle, that very green candle, the one that we're in right now, is still holding the downtrend, so sucks. All right, keeping an eye here on DVLT, still no prints at 82s, but this one is at day's high. How's that MSTX doing? No new prints on that one either, so we'll pack the patience and we'll send it to you.
Absolutely, yeah, Gorb loss. But essentially what I'm thinking is, guys, so just obviously me brainstorming and going through planning, whether it be via swing trading or looking for intraday plays, is that the market isn't a speedboat, right? Like I know Tom Lee was saying the other day, like, hey, most reversals are V reversals, But they over daily periods, right? Like these things aren't speedboats. We're not going to just be able to go in a V shape all the time. You want to wait for things to slowly curl around, and that's why I was just essentially using. It's more or less a cruise ship, right? Those things take a little bit longer to turn around.
So is that a hint that I should be going on the Royal Caribbean?
Yeah. I think that there you hit the Royal Caribbean, man. They get a lot of.
I'm pumped, man.
Did you lock it?
I haven't even locked it in yet because the issue is I wanted to take because my Easter is a week after the regular Easter. So I wanted to take the actual Easter, and so I'd use less vacation days. Yeah. But you got to go on their schedule, Joseph Options, because it's not an all-inclusive. You know what I mean? Like,
where would they pick you up?
Port of call, either Miami or Fort Lauderdale. Which are one of the same.
So yeah, Florida, roughly. That's some good stuff, man. And let me know how it is. Always curious how those things are. Adults only. Hopefully, we don't like. We love kids, but is it adults only? You don't want the kids on there, man.
I don't think so, Joe.
Yeah.
No.
Yeah. When I'm on vacation, I don't want to. I mean, obviously, I love kids and all that stuff, but I don't want to have to running around, scooting around, and all that stuff. But yeah,
I'm laughing because I know somebody else who feels the same way. I'm not going to say anything.
Yeah.
But somebody else feels the same way.
Just don't want.
Don't say the name.
You don't want the kids scooting around. Yeah, exactly. But no, in all seriousness, guys. Yeah, you can say, there it is.
Well, it's not for us to say, that's why.
It's not. So we're in the same boat there. We're glad to hear about that
it's
one.
It's not adults only, says Jules.
It's not adults only. Okay, kids are.
I didn't think it was.
Shit. All right, so there it is. Silver continuing to climb higher, 69.21. IREN did have somewhat of a pullback, guys. IBIT continuing to climb a little bit higher. Yeah, they're good. Some of the comments are.
Come on, man. Come on, man.
I know.
I'm not even like that. That's the thing.
Oh, no?
No, man. You know how I am, bro.
I didn't want to have with the pineapple
religious.
and everything along those lines. For those who know. Amazon, guys, getting a little bit of a rebound. Look at this massive gap down, but a break through some of these necklines. And this is what I'm talking about. This is a nice rebound day. You have a high.
SMX breaking out. Sorry, Joe.
If you want to cover it.
It's breaking out.
Okay, go ahead.
All right, guys, here we go. We broke trend. This could be it here. Now, let's see if this is a bull trap, because this is a very aggressive move here off of SMX. You're getting everything. You're getting the doji candle at the $14 consolidation level. You got an aggressive green candle that made a new high and broke VWAP. And then you're getting another green candle now that's breaking out. The only thing that we have to hold us back are the topping tail candles into 15.5. And I think we're going to take out the seller here. We're showing high 40s, mid 40s now. It's up 84%. I'm waiting at the lofty area of 88s, and there it goes into 77, Joseph, looking for continuation because we didn't get the print, right? Because we're waiting a lot higher. So I'm going to continue to pack the patience over here, but this one has broken structure. So watch out here. If you're short, if you're long, be careful for the bull trap. It's always in play with these small cap gappers, but we can only try to put the odds on our side, and I think that the odds are on our side now. Let's see if we can spike into 16. We're showing mid 60s, looking for 70s. Is there a buyer here, or a seller? There it goes, Joseph, into 16. Boom, we have 14.07 on. Let's go ahead and wait even higher, man. We're gonna go up to 17. Come at me. Let's go. 16.69. We're going to wait, Joe. We're not going to go as high as 17. 16.69. Good move here on SMX. A very, very clear, decided structure break. Let's see if we can get a little bit more.
Yeah, it's jokes. So my buddy sent me a Snapchat this morning, and he has 3 kids, 3 beautiful kids, and him and his wife are leaving for Mexico this morning, and he already sent me a Snapchat. And we'll just put it in short. The wife is at the airport, and she's already missing the kids. So yeah, I'm like, oh, dude, you're in for a long vacation.
Oh yeah,
exactly. Yeah. You're in for a long vacation. But no, shout out to them. I hope they have a lot of fun there. So yeah, I mean, someone said to me, it's like, Joe, you were a kid once, and I'm like, yeah, I know. I wouldn't want me on vacation either at that age, especially so. Like that's what I was essentially getting at. There's zero chance I would want me on there. But no, we're having a little bit of fun, guys.
Man.
Yeah, let's go SMX. Nice move there, Shreve, as Bitcoin is heading into $40, and the TQQs is continuing to grind higher, guys. So a lot going on here today. A solid rebound. 5-minute on Amazon. Not too much going on here. A lot of sideways price action, but just be cautious. You might get a little bit of a breakout, and you might feel some more of this downside price.
Were you a troublesome kid? Just cut the crap.
Yeah. I mean,
you were trouble, weren't you?
I was just.
Did you get in trouble in school?
We'll say that. Yeah. We'll say
That
we'll
makes
say
two
that.
of us,
yeah,
bro.
leading into high school.
That makes two of us.
Leading into high school, yeah. I mean,
I didn't get in trouble in high school as much.
yeah.
We used to get in trouble because we would play tackle football and we weren't allowed.
I mean, I think I got.
We played every day.
Yeah. It wasn't even that, man. I don't even know what I would do in elementary school, but yeah, I was
got in
no
trouble a
stranger
lot.
to pink slips going home.
Yeah. Suspensions.
Well, yeah. I got a lot of those too. Well, I told you about my buddy's cousin Todd.
Yes, I remember that. Yeah.
Caught Todd.
Man,
caught the.
When I moved from one junior, because we moved from Scarborough to Markham, right? So I had to move schools, right? And the school that I moved to in Markham, if you didn't finish homework, your parents had to sign the slip.
Sign the slip, and I mean, I was no stranger.
We had to figure out ways.
Things definitely cooled down.
We had to figure out ways.
You gotta think, man, like I was just a kid in Rexdale, right? Like we had a lot of running around, a big group of friends and stuff like that. So it was almost inevitable, man. And we were troublemakers, but I think that's what kids are at the end of the day, right?
Yeah, some kids are.
Some kids. But I think boys, it's more or less the boys, right? The boys typically. But once I was in high school,
I just think boys need to be taught differently than girls at that age. They have different energies.
Yeah, different energy
They don't absorb the same way.
Yeah, exactly.
And I feel like the way that
boys take a lot longer to mature.
And the way that they learn too, because of, their character.
I will say I got suspended once in high school.
I got suspended a lot.
In high school?
3 times.
In high school?
No.
Oh yeah. Oh,
I got suspended.
I couldn't even count how many times I got suspended.
It was all because of football. Every single time I got suspended, it was football.
I couldn't
even tell you. It was twice that we played tackle.
Yeah.
And then the third time, me and my buddy got into a fight, and he had glasses on.
Yeah.
Oh.
Dude, this is how ridiculous this school was, though. They were out for me. So anyways, this is elementary school. I'm maybe grade 3 or something along those lines, and I take a spray can, and there's a little black fence, and I just hit the black fence with the spray can. It was literally like this. It was like this, right? And my grandparents were like, come show me what you did, because we didn't live far, and I showed them, and they're like, that's it? Like, boom, Joseph, you're going home. But what it does is, like, you're not really teaching the kids anything when you suspend them, right? Because they're now away from school and stuff like that.
Exactly.
So yeah, I remember I caught it. But I got suspended once in high school.
You're taught because you catch hands at home. I don't know how your life was, but
the hockey
bare
stick,
hands.
the mug. Yeah.
So that put the fear of God in you, Joseph.
Yeah, and speaking of hands, the one time I got suspended in high school is because we were
Guys,
throwing
they're saying no audio. I don't know what's going on. Assassino?
Never mind, it was me.
Assassino, everybody's saying there is sound. Okay. No audio, no audio. I can hear fine. Okay, so different.
Just refresh, maybe.
Joseph.
Refresh.
Boom on SMX, man. We took it.
You might have disconnected.
No, I didn't actually. I'm good. 1669, guys. SMX is going limit up 1760. Here we are. We're showing a halt parameter. 1760 right now. It's zigging and zagging with that 1760. Refresh the feed, guys. There we are. Now we're in the halt parameter on SMX. The breakout is on. I sniffed this one a mile away. There was the doji candle at 1140, followed by a big boy candle at 1145. False halt. We dip back down. 1810 now. Halt up. 1810. We're showing 69s. Let's see if we can get a little bit more on this one. 1782 high. We are pennies away. And there it is. I think we breached it. No, we didn't. We're showing 77. It's still an 82. I can't quite see what limit up is. Still 1810 limit up. So be on the lookout here. Dip trades, if you're looking at dip trading this, put your 5-second chart on. Try to spot local areas of support and resistance where you can get in for a scalp. The 5-second chart works. The 10-second chart works. Boom.
Yeah, Trader TV Live on one today. Why are you not playing IBIT, says Cullinan? Because I'm not in sync with that name right now. That's literally the sole purpose. So Joseph didn't want any accountability for his, what do you mean? I'll take full accountability, but you got to mind yourself. I'm a little kid at the time, right? Like, I don't really know what's going on. Like, just a little kid. But yeah, high school, we got one suspendee, and that was it. That was throwing hands in art class. So yeah, I mean,
throwing hands in art class.
Yeah.
I couldn't stand art.
I liked it, man.
No, man, it was not for me. I liked music and drama. If you want to force me into the fine arts, those are the two. Like, our actual art, I just sucked, and I didn't care for it. And I don't know how to look at paintings and see
Stuff
symbolism.
Like that. I like cutting.
I
like cutting glass and doing like little art projects and pottery and
shop
stuff like that.
Shop class was cool.
Shop class
metal.
was all
Did you guys have metal?
Yes.
You had metal. We had metal, wood.
Shop class.
You had mechanics as well, didn't you?
Yeah.
We didn't have mechanics.
I remember the first day I got my G2. I'm like, well, me and the boys were ready to rock and roll. Boom. I'm probably about like 300 meters out of my driveway. Boom, right into a curb, destroy the vehicle, get the shop class boys to fix it. Yeah. So I didn't. All of 15 minutes I had my G2 before I destroyed the car. But no, in all seriousness, man, CrowdStrike guys still coming back in a little bit. We'll run through a couple of names. I know you like metal there, Mike P. DeRider, Bitcoin. Like, this is what I'm talking about on the grand scheme of things. We are grinding higher, but this was a big time move. And look at the volume here on IBIT. So maybe we find a little bit of a temporary bottom, or this is just somewhat of a breath here in the underlying asset and in the overall market as well too. So keep an eye out on this, guys. Be prepared for the market to continue its downward trajectory. Let's see what the TQs are. I heard Michael Noss talking about it. Like, we have some big names down double digits as well too, whether it be Microsoft and some other ones now, Amazon as well. Like, what if the market decides to play catch up at some point and break through some of these support levels? So just keep an eye out on that. Other than that, guys, we're still sitting in IREN, still looking for that short there on SLV, but it might not be coming into play today. But guys, we're going to send you off to Adair with Happening Now, and then Neil with his lesson of the day.
Beautiful recovery rally, of course, for crypto, which we'll get into in a second, but also for the S&P 500. At this point, we're finding a little bit of resistance in and around those pre-market highs going back to yesterday morning. But either way, not a bad bounce here for the market. And I do want to, speaking of bouncing, or I guess just growth here, we have to talk about Capex, because that was one of the biggest things on watch here with AMZN guiding 2026 Capex at $200 billion. That's going to be well above what was recorded this year, as well as above these estimates that we had here. So again, AMZN here earnings, despite, even though we had an EPS miss, we had a sales beat, we had AWS growth, quite strong, but again, just that Capex being a concern. I also want to talk about crypto. Here's MSTR holding up quite well at intraday highs. They did have earnings as well, but with MSTR, the story is always going to be, what is Bitcoin doing? And Bitcoin, of course, rallying. Here's Coinbase, also near intraday highs, MARA. Here is Mara, exactly at intraday highs. So lots of strength across the board here for these crypto plays. And again, for the rest of the market, as we do get a rebound off of a kind of a weak, actually no pun intended there. But you know, it's a really great way to add some strength and excitement to your day. Neil's lesson of the day. Neil, let's get a salmon-powered lesson of the day.
About the salmon. Yeah, welcome to the lesson of the day. You had to bring up the salmon. I'll talk about the salmon at the end, and I'll show it to you as well. Now I've lost my train of thought. No, I haven't lost my train of thought. You guys were just talking about, this is going to be a two-parter, and then three want to discuss the salmon. Now, the first part, and look, you get troublemakers to the left of me over there who are both getting in trouble in school all the time, apparently, which I had no idea about because they're two wholesome gentlemen as far as I know. But one lesson that I will say, if you happen to be getting yourself in some shenanigans when you're younger or in any given situation, and you do so in a team or a partnership, just remember, you're only as strong as your weakest link. That's important advice. The one time I got into serious trouble in school, I think we had a very foolproof plan of action where there was a certain class project that I'm gonna keep it real, not gloating. I knocked the park out of it, and everybody knew that the work was good, and a few people were interested in being able to, how do I say this the best way, borrow certain pieces of the project, and we're willing to make it worth my partner our while for that to be true. Now, I thought we'd be reasonable about this. I knew who was going to do what, and we were just sort of helping people out. Now, my boy had a different idea of how this was going to play out. And his idea was, I'm selling every single piece of our project to everybody that will pay. And when I say this, I'm not even remotely exaggerating. Because when the teacher came to us, she said, look, I want to show you every it was 90% of our class had 80% of what we handed in. And some of it was like straight up word for word. And I'm not going to say the dude's name. And sometimes I'm not going to say the name. But he did it behind my back. Now, granted, we got to keep the money. But I remember, like, they're talking about, like, that level of academic problem, like, they'd kick you out of school for that nonsense or, like, severe suspension. And so let's just say when you're getting involved in anything, you should always know the risk. And if somebody else is on the other side of it, then you should know the risk of that other person going ham and make sure you know what you're getting into. Because I wasn't that dude. I was like, make a couple bucks here, it'll be fine. But the real lesson of the day, I don't know how the conversation got to getting in trouble in school. But the real lesson of the day involved in trading is, I think when we talk about like staying to your lane, there's two things about sticking to your lane and sticking to your strategies I want to go over. One of them is if you have, we were talking about patterns and setups, and everything's about patterns and applying them all over the place. And I was having the conversation with Sharif because he doesn't like small cappers that are underneath $1. And I was just like, I think you do well on them because sometimes they have the same patterns. And just to prove sort of that point, I'll talk about two names that literally nobody would ever trade, because I want you guys to know the authenticity of what goes on around here. Like, even there's things that I might never, almost none of you guys are going to trade a stock like this, right? It's being bought for cash. It's going to be in a tight range. But when it does something abnormal, I'm a what? I'm a mean reversion into VWAP trader, am I not? I take trend breaks into VWAP, am I not? So when this stock does 30 million shares in its lunchtime, and yesterday it did 40 million, the day between it, 40 million, I'm here to tell you that I see a mean reversion like this, and when it does it, I'm jumping in and I'm shorting it to VWAP. I'll do it on IBIT, win, lose, or draw. I'll do it on Intel, win, lose, or draw. I'll do it on this thing, which might move 10 cents at a time, win, lose, or draw. I'll do it on, the other day, I did it on EA Sports, which is another deal. Who the heck's trading EA Sports since the cash deal? Nobody, but this did a trend reversal, almost a VWAP. We actually lost our execution in the middle of this. Was not a heck of a lot of fun because you're holding a position. And again, it's just about pattern recognition. And because what you can do then is you can apply that to small caps, mid caps, ETFs. These things are leverage buyouts. It's just the proof is in the pudding. So when I'm saying this is the style that I do and this is the strategy I utilize it, I'm doing it anywhere that it applies. So that on a given day, my best one today is going to end up being, this one. It just so happens because it does a heck of a lot of volume. And so that's what it's about when you find a pattern that works for you. And then when we show you guys tip of all the different traders trading in multiple markets, what they're probably able to do is replicate the strategies that work in the Nasdaq in New York and take them to Toronto, take them to the Amex. I do trend breaks on silver, ZSL right now. And that's the idea, that you can cross-apply strategies from one context or type of asset to another, or a different style or a different type of stock. It could be small, mid cap again. Like I said, like this is a buyout that probably will never move more than, most of the times if you get like a 2% move, that'd be crazy, and you mostly have an inside range of about 1%. But you can take the same kind of idea and then apply it if it's a working strategy. Now, the second half of this is the notion of if it's an obvious thing that was huge the day before, sometimes you have to have expectations for less. So I use that example with Intel, but this is a good example here. Like this reversion, when it does exactly the same pattern the next day, I'm a little more conservative as to how far I think it could pull back. Now I'm showing you this one because that ended up being the right call, but with Intel, I ended up being wrong about that with Intel. Because when I saw this on Intel yesterday, I'm like, well, that's too obvious. If I catch the reversion, I'm going to get out at VWAP and not play it for the pull all the way into the bottom. So sometimes that's going to work, sometimes it's not. But I tend to think like the more times you test a level or test a setup, it's less likely that it goes as far each time because there's more eyeballs on it. It's a little bit more obvious. There's just a few more people probably in the trade, meaning that it's like harder for it to fall because there's more people getting out, that kind of a thing. And then throw in the fact that, you know, obviously the market itself was bouncing as well, which is a certain part of it. So I also didn't like the short for as far in that regard. But you have to take the good with the bad. In this particular case, I cover it all at VWAP. It goes twice as far. But then I'll show you on the other one that I was, stock that, you might not pay attention to. Like I was kind of dead on being aggressive getting out into VWAP and then holding on to like 10% for the dream, let's just say. So you've got to be consistent with your analysis of the situation. Just because it went all the way one time, when it comes a second time, I'm gonna be a little more conservative. I'll apply that to both trades just to show you that I'm not just talking about this strategy or what I do like here and there willy-nilly. I'm like, no, this is stuff that I've been doing for 20 years. I've traded these types of stocks for 20 years, and I've traded them with these patterns successfully. Month after month, week after week, month after month, because they're patterns that work for me, and then I have a strategy for applying them. And that's what everyone's looking for. I'm not saying go out and trade the strategies I do, but it's more about have a way in which you try to trade. Have a style, have a setup, have an entry plan, exit plan, something that you can quantify so that you can apply it, maybe not just to like an Apple, but then you can work on that. Maybe you can apply it to some small cappers if you can meld it. Maybe you can apply it to different markets if you have the opportunity to. Shout out to Real Trading where we can trade just about everything. But it just comes down to having that plan and then understanding sometimes if the setup repeats itself over and over again, multiple days on a stock, hey, it's probably not going to be as good day 2 and day 3 as it was on day 1 because there's maybe more eyeballs on it seeing all the same thing. So there's lots of ways to take advantage of the markets, but it all starts with pattern recognition, and then the more places you can apply that pattern, the better you'll be. Now I said I would end with this, and I'm not going to say too much other than the salmon is green, and I don't know what the green stuff is on the salmon. I just don't know why the salmon has green stuff on it. Now I eat just about everything, so I'm going to eat it because I'm hungry. I am hungry, so I am going to eat this one way or another. But I don't. Somebody tell me what they think this is in the chat. Like maybe it's pesto, but why would you put pesto on salmon? I don't. Anyways, I'll let you guys know. I'll put it in the chat what this tastes like. But pray for me, because I don't know about this. Peace.
Thing on there. I don't know, Neil, that one time though, that one chicken, I think it was like that Filipino chicken or something along those lines. So you're like, no, I ain't eating that. And then you went and grabbed a slice from Nova, which I'm a bit, yeah, come back. No, I'm just saying. I couldn't eat it either, man. I was thinking of getting a Nova slice. Hit him back up there, guys. What are you doing?
Yeah.
Okay, before I get out of here. No, that is true. That being said, I have a rule in my house. I'm the same way too. I can't sit around and say I don't like something and I won't eat it if I haven't tried it. Like to me, that's cap. Like if I eat it, I'm like, yeah, I can't eat. I can't do this. That's fine. Yeah. But don't tell me you don't like something if you haven't tried it before.
Yeah,
like that's a no-fly zone for me.
I'm a low-tolerant individual. It's like, listen, 1 or 2 bites. If I don't like it, then that's it. I can't give you too many other chances.
Can't
and
knock it
see you later. We're off
fair.
to Nova or something like that.
That's fair.
Yeah, I agree. I agreed with that one. That was a tough one. I don't know what they had going on there. Joey Narc. That's crazy.
Joey Narc? It looks interesting.
Yeah, that's crazy.
Oh,
yeah.
How?
Yeah, not even, man. I feel bad for AMPC, man. That's all right, man. Anyways, I'm going to be nice today. You know why I shoot? Because I am kind. So what we're going to do is we're going to hit this one AMP. We'll give you that one. But we're also going to hit this as IREN is continuing to climb a little bit higher. Boom, let's go. Oh, it's starting to come off those highs a little bit. Do we re-engage in this SLV short? It's really strong today, guys, but we might have to counter trend this as it looks like we're starting to slowly fail to put in a new high, right? So we can't break this previous pivot high, and we're starting to slowly turn back around once again. So that's what I got going on. We'll take one more attempt on that. A break even there, roughly a small ITM, and then sure enough, a loss on SLV. 3 strikes at the plate, and then we have to find something else to trade. IREN being that guy today.
All right, I'm in on SMX 84s. I've scalped up as high as current bar high, which I believe is 33s. It's really having trouble clearing 17 decisively, at least for the moment. It's got the right chart pattern, so I'm back in here, a little in the money, a little out of the money because the spread is so wide. But I'm looking for that move into the high of the day. It's a clean hold off 16, and then this current bar looks like it has 50 or 40 pennies as the bar low. But as I say, I mean, it's been above 17, and vis-a-vis my prints there, you can see on the screen, but not decisively. So the shorts are still eyeing the $17 area or the profit takers, and they're being kind of staunchy about it because we can't clear it with any decisiveness. So let's see if this one comes back down. I've moved up my stop from prior bar low to current bar low, so that means we're risking about 30 pennies on the remaining amount, but I still have about half the position, so I'm looking for continuation on that. Bitcoin broke 70. Okay, well, that's fantastic. I mean, I'm not gonna, yeah, that's not how I do, you know, but like, oh, I told you so. But anyway, the point is, good on everybody, and I hope everybody prints storms, obviously. And if you were in Bitcoin before and you're holding, you had to go through that drawdown. Yeah, it's the nature of the beast. All right, so watching here, 17. Here comes 17 again. The spread's opening up, dude. Holy, it's like 20 pennies at times, 17.20 now. Remember, current bar high is $0.33. 23, we're showing 25s. Let's go. Clear the $0.33. Let's go. 25s again, we were just at 30, so trying to pack the patience here. We've got shares on this one. Let's wet the beak. I might as well. We've got 84s on, but like I feel like I really want to leave the majority of this for the higher prices, because here we go. We're about to take out 17.50. Where's my next profit taker, the one that I've posted? It's 69. Okay. All right, so let's see if we can take through 50. Seller in the high 30s, low 40s that we can't shake. But it's up over 100% now. It's got higher lows, it's got higher highs, it's got a flat top. I'll submit to you guys at around 1750-ish. Obviously, it's not gonna be to the penny because this thing moves insane, so can't expect it to be the penny, but you've got the higher lows here. Let's see if it defends 17 this time around. I don't expect it to, but maybe the buyers are stepping in at around the whole dollar right now. So I'm going to keep that in mind. Back up into 20s we go. There's the $0.25. Can we just take out 50s? Let's see if the price spike can come in. I'd love to be able to call it out while I'm talking about it, other than, you know, sending it to you, then it happening, then have to interrupt you. And it's annoying, right? But yeah, we're probably gonna have to do that because it's not doing it.
Yeah, but when it breaks out, man, we want to know as well, because you never know, we might get involved in that stuff, man. My pen is just slowly getting destroyed here. But yeah, you can see that we're short a little bit of silver here, guys, from 69.45. We're slowly starting to get that breakdown. I'm looking for this move, and essentially why I'm going short here is because we failed to establish a new high. We formed a little bit of a consolidation there at the peak, and then sure enough, we're starting to break a 1 minute neckline. Maybe we can get back to the lower end of the range, so we'll keep an eye out on it, or maybe it's just a breath before it decides to take an additional leg higher. Once again, considering it's slowly starting to work for us, I have no issues once we get to over a 1-to-1 risk to reward ratio. If it happens to come back to me, then we'll just get out of that. But VWAP's going to be that primary target. We're still relatively small on that one. IREN still continuing to be him, and that's what we want, right? Like, we just want to get in some of those names. I was talking with Gorb, like, you guys notice that my book has slightly changed. I'm not always in the TQs or IBIT. I'm just looking for things that are quality setups and maybe not overly crowded as well too. So there's IREN still sitting in this one, only 5% left. That's why I'm like, hey, I may as well mock this at this point, considering we're 8.8% to the top side here. $3.52 as it's continuously slow, grinding a little bit higher, and then we have silver working for us too, guys. What are you looking at? I know I want you guys to get engaged. 43.44 there on IREN. Nice look, nice look. What is Ethereum up to? I mean, we were at $1,900 not too long ago. Is it continuing to climb? Let's pull up Ethereum and see some of these crypto names. I know everybody loves it. Lemons family, you know where I stand currently right now on it. So there's Ethereum to $2,000. A nice steady uptrend. ETHA we want to take a look at as well and see how this has been performing on today's session. Not bad whatsoever. Out of the gate, you're just straight to the top side. You're holding the volume weighted average price, and you're up to 1553 now. So yeah, what a big bounce back in SLV, man. This is what I'm talking about. So if it's going to remain strong like this, we're going to keep an eye on it. It looked like we were going to break down, but then it's immediately bought back up, and that's just signals of strength for me. So we'll keep an eye out on SLV. If we do rebound and head a little bit higher up to this top end of the range, maybe we just avoid it, and the short isn't going to necessarily work here today on SLV, all right, as it's just continuously going. But the 5-minute time frame is saying, hey, Joe, it's a potential top, but again, it could just be somewhat of a breath in the underlying asset. So there it goes. If we breach that high of the day, what are we in at 45? That's going to put us around 66. So if we lose on this one, we're going to have our out at the higher end of the range, at the top of the break of this previous pivot high. Then it's see you later, and then we'll find something else to trade, because clearly the short on the market right now isn't working, as Bitcoin is climbing up to $40, a nice bounce off of 37. I've seen in the post market we had a low of around $34 on IBIT, 34.16. Geez, oh geez, but $6 back to the top side. That's a pretty good one there. Sharif, what do you got?
All right, man. We're looking for a next print here on MSTX. At 45, I think it's showing me 44. So let's go ahead and wet the beak over here. I made a mistake here, Joey. Look at this ad, but I added for the amount of shares that I wanted to take out. So this could have been just such a beautiful ad, but I made a mistake there. So this ad here, what I've done today, guys, is I've set up some hotkeys so that I can get in and get out without having to go through the order window. The problem is, though, if you set up your out as a certain amount of shares, it removes your default entry and then just goes with the default that you set for your out, even though you're trying to get in. So that was a bit of a mistake by me there, and I looked over to my position. I'm like, how come I have the same amount or, just a little bit more? And that was because I got my out. I got in here with as many as I was programming to get out. So this is a very bullish pattern right now, in my humble opinion, on SMX. This accumulation into 17.25, 17.5 with higher lows and multiple bottoming tail candles. Of course, anything can happen with these small cap gappers, but it does feel like it's coiling up or an aggressive breakout. It's a 1782 high that was really early on at, well, not really early on, at 1050. Since that time, it has been a very, very clear area of resistance, a little bit above 17. I want to say it's a range, 17.25, 17, and a third, in and around that area. So that's what I'm looking at there. I'm also obviously in 2 other trades, DVLT. We haven't really taken any prints on lately, so we'll just take out some there. And then MSTX as well. That one has been good. This one has been more steady state, higher lows, higher highs, and a clean hold of the 10 EMA on the 5. So, but the one I'm really focusing on is SMX, because this one has that blow-off top potential, up over 100%. It's got the good chart pattern, but that can change in a heartbeat, especially with a large sell order. It's done a good amount of shares on the day, about 22.5 million. My only beef with it, and I'm not beefing the fact that it's got seller at 17.5. That's kind of normal, 17.25, 17.5. The spread. Despite the fact that it's very liquid, I've seen the spread as wide as 20, 25 pennies at times, which is kind of annoying. Yeah, so that's my only concern that I would want to voice to you guys. If you guys are going to jump into this, that's something certainly to be aware of there. And that's it, really. I'm going to continue to watch SMX. I've got 81s on. Down it goes into 88s, 90 again. So we're going to take this opportunity to kind of just keep an eye on things. Are we still holding the higher lows? We just opened up a new candle about a minute ago right now, which definitely has a higher low. So let me give you the data here. So prior bar, sorry, one sec. Prior bar low is 1653. Current bar low, 1696, but we're looking for that 1650 area to hold. What's up, Joe?
No, I don't know why it says no positions when I'm into right now.
Take a fill.
Yeah, well, I don't.
Yeah, I know. Just for that.
Yeah, exactly. But yeah, there it is, guys. We're continuing to climb here. We got our boy FVY, Frederick Von Yummy Pants, sending in another $10 super chat. The HR lady here at Foxborough Stadium is questioning my fake ID. But she says she's saying she'll issue my security badge after she confirms my job references. Anyways, expect a phone call shortly. Yo, this guy is absolutely hilarious. Thanks,
That's
guys.
crazy.
Yeah, man. No, this guy is. Man, oh man, you are a funny individual, and I love that style of humor. I said that once again, but expecting the phone call. Sharif, are you going to answer that one, or maybe we
I don't know, man. I don't pick up. But it's going to be HR.
Yeah,
so that's probably going to be Katina Man or Neil or Brenda.
Yeah, we'll get them to pick it up there, and we'll refer you there. Thank you very much once again, Frederick. I know it's Danny Boy. Once again, so yeah, here it is, guys. Whoever's short SLV, we're up 4%. It doesn't seem like it wants to break down just yet. Maybe we have put in a little bit of a top. Struggling up here as the market is starting to form a consolidative zone as well too. So we'll keep that in mind and we'll take it into consideration throughout this trade. If it breaks that previous high, you know that we're out of this one. So there it is, SLB. That's what we got cooking. Now I was gonna pull up just to make sure I wasn't out of all of these positions. Just in case I was. Okay, we're not, which is good, and we'll be thankful for that. So IREN is absolutely on a monster run, Sharif. I think we might hit 10% up here today. We're 9.8%, closer to 9.9 here on the intraday session. So there you go, 9.9. You just smacked into that there on IREN, 43.71 on that one there. So not too bad of a look whatsoever, guys. Moving forward, if there's anything specific that you want us to go over via options chain, you want to talk a little bit of options strategies and volatility stepping into the overall market, or you have a specific ticker that you want us to go over, just put it in the chat and we'll do so right now, as I'm currently sitting in multiple positions, so is Sharif, and I'm just relaxing to see if these things are going to work out. I'll get out of silver if it has to and it calls for it, but also put those dollar signs because, you know, Sharif is doing the afternoon rundown, and you want to get that in. Any zero?
Boom! There, Joey, there it goes, man. And I just added into the low. Finally, yes. All right, we're killing it on this now. Killing it. Be killing shit. All right, here we go. It's coming down. I'm flat now. Wow, I caught that before it went against me. Joe, holy cow. Oh my goodness, this thing is insane. Did you see that?
I didn't. I personally didn't.
You can't even react. That was insane.
Bro, zoom in on that.
Oh my days. No, let's show them on this, man. Oh my goodness. I was extremely in the money and then almost completely out of the money. This is nuts trading over here, bro. 18.25 high, lost 16 there in a second. Everybody was looking to take profits there at 18. Oh my goodness. I couldn't even take out more there. I thought we were going to continue. Oh, wow, that was some bamboozlement there. All right, so we'll have to set up again on that one, Joey, because we did add into that, and then it just took out a whole bunch of my orders, and then it was all the way right back down. Sorry to interrupt you.
No, I mean, what did I just do?
Insane.
Oh, that is risky. Okay, maybe I want to change that there, Sharif. No, because remember how we were working on our hotkeys there, and it's just like, hey, boom, boom, you don't have no click to enter or anything along those lines?
Yeah.
I just hit that, and it would have put me in an insane amount of size, short side too, on SLV. You guys can't see it, so I'll just add a little bit more here. Nothing substantial, just to get involved a little bit. Let's see if we can catch a fill up here on SLV, and maybe we can start to get that breakdown. But this consolidation is kind of giving me the not so good looks. Now you can see it, guys. 39.72 on IREN we are long from, and then now we are short on 69.46 on SLV. Once again, once we break that top out, we are out of dodge. But this has been a big time monster run on IREN. What do you got going on?
We're back in, and it's doing it again. This is insane. I'm not getting caught offside this time. I promise you that. There we go, right back in. We're at 1664. There's 1765. Here comes 18. There goes 18. 1805. Dude, I'm like, this is not gonna. It's not gonna do it to me again.
Not gonna
Absolutely not. What a move on the SMX. This is crazy trading. But it was a clean hold, by the way, of the current candle on the 10 EMA on the 5. And I was like, how come it's not losing the 10 EMA? Right, and it's exactly why I got back into this. So let's see if it can clear 17.5 now. We're $1 in the money, so this gives us a little bit of room. But as we saw, maybe I shouldn't say that, because we just saw the candle at 1220 just bamboozle everybody and their mother's cousin. Let's see if this one can continue up, though. I want to take out some more prints into that high of day. 1845 is the high of the day. But it's still, Joseph, it's still having trouble with 17.5. Here it is again at 17.5 and unable to clear it decisively. So there, I'm just getting out of this, man. Let's focus on something else. Where we made the money back on this one. Ooh, wow. That was intense. That's too intense for a Friday, bro. That's too intense for a Friday for me. And here it comes right back down. So happy.
Breathe, man.
I got into that one. There we go. We gotta do a little bit of wiping here, Joey.
Yeah, I mean, hey, man.
A little heat.
There it is.
A little heat.
We got all out of IREN here. It's continuing to climb higher, but we're not going to complain about this whatsoever. It was a nice run. We've been in this for the majority of the day here. So, boom, we take the attempt short, get out of it, patient, patient, patient. Starts to form this bull flag. We play the break of it, and then you go on this monster run throughout the whole day. So we've been in this long since approximately 10:30, and then we get out around 12:30 as well, too. So not too bad of a look whatsoever on IREN. And it's continuing even gone up to $44 now. That is a big time run. 11%. This thing is continuing to climb. What does the daily look like?
What's the daily
I
look like?
I was trying to correlate this with something, and I'm like, hey man, there's nothing really going on, but a nice bounce off of some key support levels here in IREN. And sure enough, you don't even get to that previous pivot low, that neckline, guys, 33.93, and then you get that boom, that break up there. So a nice rebound here in IREN. All right, enough of that. Let's see what we got going on here in silver. We added a little bit, nothing substantial. It was more or less so you guys can see what we got going on the position board. We're not going to write home about this this ad or anything along those lines. It's struggling to break down, but slowly starting to work for us. And we haven't broke this 69.60 level. Now, at this point, considering the consolidation, if it decides to it wants to go on an additional leg higher, then we just get out of Dodge and look for something else, as Bitcoin is up to 40.27. So it is definitely a long day, and we're kind of going counter trend right now. This might not work. So watch those shorts and silver shorts. This is a tricky one. All right, Adira, what do you have for us?
To be aware, guys, that NVIDIA CEO Jensen Huang currently being interviewed by CNBC, saying that Anthropic and OpenAI are making money, demand is sky high, quote unquote, and that no one uses AI better than Meta. So META getting a nice compliment here from NVIDIA CEO Jensen Huang. Stock actually popping a bit on this comment from Huang. Back to you.
He seems to like to praise everybody who buys stuff off him because
well, I would too.
Well, of course. I mean, are you a stupid businessman?
Yeah,
You're not going to be
exactly.
crapping on the people you sell to, right? But it's really interesting how he does that. He calls Elon, you know, one of the best whatever of our time.
Yeah.
He said this. He's positive about everybody who does business with him.
Hey,
so
man, I would be
shout out to Jensen.
Would you send him big money over? I like your style.
Friedman, 1992. Thank you very much. I think that's Polish.
92.
Polish something or another. I checked it out. 60. Thank you very much. I'm holding NBIS, Nebius. I think you asked the other day about this. And it's running like crazy now. Should I sell now or lose it all later? Don't say that, man. Let's have a look at NBIS. All right, what do we got? Oh, this is a nice recovery. Where are we up on Nebius today? 16 1/3. What's the daily look like? Let's start with the daily. So this is nice. Higher lows and higher highs than yesterday's print. Generally,
Oh my.
you want to take it?
No.
Generally, you take that 200. You do defend the 200 because, well, it depends on what kind of rule you're employing, right? The 3% or 3-period rule. You don't spend more than 3 periods below it. It's 1. Moreover, I do like this shelf. I think I made this point to you last time as well. That this shelf was quite important for a technical area of support. I'm talking, of course, about that $75 to $70 shelf. It's actually, you know, if you look at the range of this shelf, and that's from the 5th of August to the breakout there on the 9th of September, it's a $65 area low and a $75 area high. It held it, and now it's made new highs. Now, you obviously haven't broken above this lower trend line over here that we talked about yesterday. You know, it's really hard to know what the technicals are going to be, especially if you're going to ride trend above 100, but you got a clean hold here of a good technical area. Moreover, you had support at that area at 75 back in mid-December when we sold off. You want to look at this for him, but I think, you know, this is still showing a downtrend, no question about it, but it does hold key technical areas, and that's the good news. The bad news is you're still south of that trend line. What's it called? Is taking out highs. It just got into a new high a day, 1889 on SMX now. This one is up 120%. It looks like it's getting going here. I couldn't see limit up there. Limit up is 1930. We're showing 1856 on the ask, so limit up is 1930. Excellent strength today on SMX. I hope this has the effect of bringing more small cap gappers back onto the scene. Sometimes when we have like parabolic ones like this, you know, they just seem to spiral. And usually, you know, we'll get a couple of good days. But this one is awfully volatile. 1889, it's $1 lower now, Joey, and it's almost right back below 1750. Let's see if 1750, which has been an annoying area of resistance, now acts as support. You know what? If this dips back into 1750, I'm getting in. And then we're going to give it to 17 1/4. So what? We'll risk a little bit here. But it doesn't even look like it's moving back. It looks like it's defending 18 now. So SMX doing it freaking live here on the midday, all sorts of volatility, all sorts of volume. and all sorts of prints, man. So keep your eye out on this one. I think 1750 could be a buy area, but don't have a tight stop at that 1750 for goodness sake. You see how this one moves. It moves $2 at a time. You think it's going to respect a 2 or 3 penny stop below the $0.5? I don't think it would. Here it comes again. 18 2/3, 1889 high. This one has intentions here to take out 19. And then, if it takes out 19, I have a bias, it gets into 20. Here we go, we're accumulating again. And the spread is tightening up. There's 63 again. It's an 89 penny high, as I mentioned, 75, 81, 82. Here comes that high a day, guys. Not quite there yet, all the way back down now into the $0.5. So make sure you're picking up these, local area dips for an accumulation into the high. I think that's what I'm going to do. Joey, what do you got?
Attaboy, Gaurav, man. You're rich, man.
Get it, Gaurav.
Out, my way, my boy. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Dogo, by the way.
Yeah, Dogo, member for 1 month.
Yes,
Let's
sir.
go.
Thank you, Dogo.
Joe, have a good rest of y'all weekend and much appreciated, man.
Appreciate you, man.
Any big plans for the weekend? I'm just chilling, man. It's been a pretty, I'm not knock on wood.
I already told you what the plans were.
Oh, yeah.
My boy.
Go hit this one there. All right. Let's run through the Meg, man. This is why. So this is okay. Let's actually get into what we were trading there first. Look at this out on SLV. I'm like, you know what? This really started to pick up. If it was going to break down, it would have been on that third time, that third test. And then sure enough, it didn't. And it started to climb higher. And then this would have went multiple more pennies against me, 20 cents to be exact with you. So I'm happy we got out of that. We take 2 losses on the short on SLV and 1 break even. So that's totally fine. We are fortunate enough to be in a position where we make 8 times as much as we have lost today on IREN, literally. So there it is, just one good trade, and it's to the long. Happened to be in the right place at the right time on IREN, and we're extremely thankful for that. So let's move forward and go over some of these big boys, right? Microsoft, Gaurav, long from this hammer candle, bang, see you later, having a good time over there. Apple looking like it wants to break down over here, Sharif. So adding a little bit of a pull in the overall market. Watch out for this one. This bull flag is slightly failing here. NVDA putting a new high of the day, up to 185. Let's go, man. What a big-time rebound there in NVDA. We like that one. Amazon off to the races here, breaking through those pre-market highs and starting to pick up a little Momo, and we like that. Same thing with Tesla. Tesla is continuing to climb a little bit higher, 414 and change there off of that 398 low. We are down to around 387 in Tesla. Google 322. Google not participating, right? We were talking about the potential downtrade. Go ahead.
We're going, guys. SMX took out 19. 1965 high. I've got 54s on. Let's go again. Let's do it again. Here comes 1965. I can't see limit up yet. Again, $0.5 rejecting. How many shares do we have? I don't want to take out too much. All right, we're going to take out here. We're going to let this one go now. Let's go SMX, 130%. Here we go again. Look for the dip trades. That's exactly what I was looking for. I, in fact, have another dip trade that went unfilled. Here's the $0.5. Here's the seller at the $0.5. Let's go ahead and wait just a little bit south of that whole dollar. We're going to go to 88. All right, we're going to have to go to Adair. She's got news.
I'll be brief here. I'm seeing reports suggesting that Manhattan U.S. Attorney Jay Clayton planning on taking enforcement action on these prediction markets. Now, DKNG moving a little bit here, as you can see, a little spike in both directions. Generally, these stories that are negative for prediction markets are viewed as positive for these names like DKNG. Back to you.
Very much for that there. There we go into the high. We just took it out at 59s. I had to take it out there, 69 penny high. We're going to be looking at getting in more. Let's go. I have a bias. This one's going to get into 20. It's a few measly pennies, 31 pennies to be exact. Off that, sorry, more like 23 pennies now. There's a new area high, 1977 now. SMX is really going. Good strength on this one. Let's see if we can get a little bit more. Now, where's the shelf at? Guys, use the 5-second chart, the 10-second chart. I'm seeing support at 1880. I'm seeing a lot of rejections on 18. Let me bring this down so you guys can see. So here's what I'm seeing right there. That's a shelf, 1880. Here comes 1880. Does it hold? It's not. 1860 down. Can it recover? Right back above into 19. What a move there on SMX. Let's now keep an eye out on this one. Does it hold 19? It gave you 1880 ever so briefly, but I was trying to tell you, don't have tight stops with this one. It's just too volatile. Does it have continuation legs, though? Can it get to 19 before it drops back down, maybe test another key area of support? I'm talking about that $18 shelf that we had. Keeping an eye here on SMX. I know I've got other trades on, but this one is really occupying all my focus at the moment. I'm going to have to watch this because I'm not going to just jump in. Looking for the test again of 19. Let's see if the buyers are going to step in and around 19. You got a moment. You only got a moment at that 1880. By the way, so that 1880, it actually, there was slippage. It dropped all the way to 1860, then it rocketed right back up. And now the buyers look like they're stepping in here at 19 generally. Every time we dip into that 19 single digits, we're being met with some buying. There's the teens. Can we get a little bit higher? No, we're still holding here into this pattern. So look, if I get in here, I'll have to give it to 1880. That's a little bit of my bias. I'm going to go small share size here. Oh, it's already getting away from me. Oh, geez, there we go, into the $0.25. That changes my analysis a little bit. Here, let's see if it can dip down into the single digits. There's 12, the buyer 12, there's the single digits again, 19 buyer. Is that 19 buyer gonna step up? Let's go ahead. 18, we'll give it to 77, 18. We're gonna have to give it room, so our cost basis is 15 on this one. Let's go ahead, set up some profit takers, otherwise we'll stop out. I went for way smaller share size this time, so we don't get caught offside. Dipping down into 19, but right above 19 it goes again. We're break even, there's a seller at 15, exactly where we're in at actually. There's the $0.25, no continuation though. Into that $0.50. That's kind of what I'm looking at there. Let's see what's watch over here. Buyer stepping in. I can see that on the time and sales. There it is into 30. We're not getting the prints because of the spread. Let's continue to watch over here. Let me just have a look at my 5-second chart. Does look generally like there is support at 19, but you can never really tell with these bad boys here. All right, let's just continue to watch, continue to watch. Let's see, what do we got? Is anybody stepping in with any large orders? There's a buyer there at 19 exactly with a good amount of lots. It keeps popping up into the 20s, but there's no continuation above the 20s. You can see that the mid-20s seem to be a local area of resistance, and that's what I'm seeing as well on the 5-second chart. But you know what? We're still putting in higher lows. There's 30s. Well, this could continue here. Did we get the print? Nope. Looking for that decisive, I should say, 19.25 break, even though we did pop up into the 30s. What keeps me optimistic is the 5-second chart is showing higher lows. That can change in a minute, though. And we kind of know that. We've seen that live and living color with that crazy, you know what, candle there. So what do you got, Joey? Because I have to throw in some orders.
Yeah, absolutely. I'm just looking at some things, guys. It is Friday. It hasn't been a horrible one whatsoever. So I'm in no rush to put on anything right now. A lot of tomfoolery going on here with SLV, as you can see. I'm going to remove it from my chart so you don't just get that FOMO feeling. We took our stabs at it, right? We struck out at the play, ground ball, whatever you would like to call it. A break-even trade there, a loss there on the short, a break-even, a small gain, and then an additional loss. But now we're just back right south of our entry. But with these additional fake outs and everything along those lines, ain't nobody got time for that. And I ain't got time for that right now. So even though that's the nature of the beast, so we're going to continuously look on anything. And guys, I'm in no rush to put on any other trades, even if I do put on anything. After 2 o'clock, I think the volumes are going to slowly start to cool down, and then we'll move forward from that. Monday is going to be a whole new day, and that's what we want to participate in. So. Okay, I have no idea what you just said there to me, Mike Peter Ryder. Sounds good though. Looks good, sounds good. No idea what it means, but hey. All right, guys. Moving forward, let's head back over to our watch list and see what's cooking up here in the Mag 7 world and the big time rebound. Google not participating to the down or to the top side here in the overall market rally. So maybe adding a little bit of a pull effect, but it seems to be shrugging it off relatively well here, guys. So we'll continue. Broadcom, what are you up to? Nice and steady to the right. Not a bad look whatsoever. What are you up to? Salesforce, if you're not participating, of course Salesforce isn't participating. Why would we expect Salesforce to be climbing higher when the rest of the market is climbing higher? But believe it or not, Cisco continuing to grind higher here, guys. 83.85 there. IBM, what are you up to? Participating with the overall market. We like participation, not necessarily the participation trophy, right? You want to get those first, second in place, and third places, even though Ricky Bobby's dad once said, if you're not first, you're last, and keep that mentality, all right? The idea is to be first here. And if you don't like it, boo-hoo. Adobe, 267.86. I'm choosing violence right now, Sharif. AMAT, Applied Materials, not looking too bad whatsoever. TXN, performing relatively well, guys. This is starting to really form a bull flag. Watch out for an additional leg higher in TXN. Pan W, we're just going through a list of names, correlating with the daily. really
clipped, bro.
Yeah, I mean, who knows? It clipped. Yeah, I mean, so is CrowdStrike too, right? So a lot of these cyber security names.
I added into that yesterday too. I have a bit of a bias that 150 probably comes into play.
On pan? What are we at right now?
Weekly at it's the weekly, I think 200.
Yeah.
So
a lot going on here.
Probably building into that one. I am a little bit worried, and I hate to change a thesis, but the whole thing is everyone's thinking that you can probably bring home, not bring home, but bring it in house. Your cybersecurity.
Cybersecurity?
Yeah, because you're going to be able to. That's what people are saying, right? Really? That's why that whole SaaS trade, they called it software Mageddon or whatever the hell.
Yeah.
There we go. SMX is taking out highs, guys. Taking out highs. There we go. Good look. Good look. So this software Mageddon, everybody's talking about these SaaS models getting disrupted because you can kind of bring that in house using some of these more advanced servers that we saw. Lisa Sue, she's obviously that's a small scale. But that's kind of my concern a little bit about that, and I don't really know how to feel about this whole thing.
I mean, I don't think it's going to be that easy, right? Just write code in. I mean, for the more tech-savvy individuals, maybe, but maybe it's just a phase as well, too, because eventually they're going to be able to catch up. They already have a step ahead of everybody, and then maybe they can just make their software a little bit better instead of just doing it in-house. Who knows, right?
Ideally,
yeah. So that'd be ideal, obviously. Yeah. But yeah, we're going to continuously move forward here, guys.
End up is at least up on the day, which,
Yeah, it's up. It's up.
I thought it was down. Did you see Caterpillar?
I've seen it. Do I want to look at it?
Caterpillar, man?
Yeah, it's crazy, man. I told you though, man. It's the grid, bro. I'm telling you.
It is exactly the grid.
I'm telling you. I've been saying that. When I read up on this thing, it's like these guys can build their own, and this is huge for the data center.
Did I tell you about this story? I think I mentioned it because Save Man Woman was talking about it yesterday. So listen, I'm going to mention it again. So the president of OpenAI was basically doing this interview. And he's like, so many of these people that are in the real estate business that have these huge warehouses are coming up to him like, yeah, come build a data center in my place. His first question to them is, all right, what's your electricity uptime like? They're like, whatever the utilities companies is uptime is like. And he's like, well, that doesn't work because we need to be up 100%. And we can't have any fluctuations in the electricity because all the CPUs, the GPUs, they all have to be on the same wavelength. I think it's called harmonization or something like that. So he's like, yeah, no worries, I'll just buy generators. And he's like, all right, cool, buy generators. You know what the backlog for the generators is? Like 2-3 years.
Yeah.
Where are you gonna get those?
That's
so
crazy.
that's why Caterpillar's up 5,090%. Yeah, right? Because they make all this stuff.
They make it all, and it's huge, right? Because
look at this thing, man.
Like you mentioned, it's like everybody's worried about the data centers being on the grid. Well, these guys can build additional ones and just put them on their own. So
you can't get enough of this.
No, Joey. Look at that thing.
I don't want you guess. Tariff tantrum low.
Oh, I'm gonna say 1.25.
What does that mean?
125%.
125?
Yeah.
Keep going, Joey.
Oh, 1.75, man.
Yeah, pretty close.
Yeah, pretty close.
That's the tariff tantrum low to the area high that we made in yesterday. So I know Neil's involved in this one as well as myself. Neil, have you wet the beak? Neil, did you wet the beak on any cat? Because I know you and I were talking about that. Yeah. He ended up not. That's my man, because it's right back into all-time highs.
Man, my boy.
I don't know. Should you? What's up?
JP Morgan.
Okay, we got to go to Adara. There's something going on. A couple of different things going on. I'll start here with NVIDIA. NVIDIA CEO Jensen Huang still speaking with CNBC, saying that there's no drama with OpenAI and that they need his company's new generation chip. So very confident Jensen Huang there, as he always is. Let's talk about BILL Holdings, though. BILL, much like NVIDIA, near high of day, but a different catalyst. As you can see, this spiked about 15 minutes ago. Just now seeing a story coming through. Looks like reportedly Hellman and Friedman are in talks to buy BILL. So BILL reportedly in some kind of acquisition or merger talks, which is why the stock is pushing higher. Again, NVIDIA looks like Jensen Huang is still speaking with CNBC, so be aware. Generally, though, he's speaking very positively. There's not been anything negative yet, though he did mention, again, that China is always a competitor here in AI with the U.S. Back to you.
Thank you very much. Above saying there's a new IPO, AGMB. Let's find out. AGMB, Assassino on the Nasdaq. Yes, new IPO, about 1 million shares. This has been trading since 12/12. It opened up at 12/12. It's up 50%. I'm assuming that's relative to the IPO price. Opening print on this was like right at 24 bucks. It's right at 24 right. What? Oh, sorry, it's showing me, my bad. So I have to redo that whole thing. It's down. It didn't update the chart. I do apologize. AGMB is down 14.5%. Looks like the opening print, 1470, showing 1369 now. Low, area low on this, 1269. It's at 1350. Wow, look at the spread, 26 on the bid, 69 on the ask. This isn't for me, but thank you, Bovin. Yeah, wrong screen. It wasn't the wrong screen, Bovin. It didn't update, but this is the right one now. So down 14.5%. So maybe if it takes out that that day high, the opening print, which is 1470, we'll get involved in that. Farm Trader, BE is a short because what you are talking about, they can't make and install fast enough. It will crash like SLV. Assuming you're talking about Bloom Energy. I did wet the beak. I'm not selling the full position. I'm in way lower. You guys know we've been talking about Bloom Energy for a hot minute. Shout out to Mitch. Definitely not off the highs. I've wet the beak a couple of times on Bloom Energy. Look, to me, I've dealt with the drawdowns before. You guys can see it got to that 147, dropped all the way back to 75, and then it proceeded to make all-time highs. I think that this is a bit of a secular tailwind. We'll see, brother. And besides, don't forget that Bloom Energy is coming at this a bit of a different way. They're coming at it from the hydrogen side, right? They're not coming at it from like the diesel turbines that turbines that Elon Musk is using in Memphis and stuff that's pissing everybody off to no end. They're coming at it from a different way. So I think it was a bit of a defensible moat, whether or not it continues to go. You know, your guess is as good as mine. We're continuing to print here though, Joey. On MSTX, man, we got 35s on. It just got into 51. So we're going to wet the beak here as well. We added a couple of times into this one. Good look here on MSTX. This is an inverse leveraged MSTR ETF. It's up 49.4%. It's at the day's high. That means MSTR is flying. And it is. Joseph, don't look. What's MSTR up on the day?
20%.
You're close. 24.5.
24.5.
So it's really going. Oh, crap coin is up to 11.4%. So good. It's almost at 71,000. So hopefully we might move up a little bit over here on our friend Bitcoin. Pretty Panda, feels like 2 to 3 days relief. Then we find our footing lower. Yes, I have no idea. Like I've had no idea the last 22 years. Still here though. Shout out to you, my man. What's it called? Out hustle them all. Right? You know, you stick around, and obviously when you stick around a lot, you're learning things, even though you may not feel that immediately and in the short term, but you certainly are, man. And I've seen some of your calls, so you definitely know what you're doing. Give yourself a bit more credit, man.
Yeah, pat on the old back ski there. Yeah, all right, guys. A lot going on. What time is it? 12:50.
It's 12:50, Joseph.
You're fired up, man. I'm
got a few more minutes.
A few more minutes. You don't want to get.
Where's Sia? I know Sia's here. Nice. All right.
Yeah, we're fired up. Man. Whenever we're ready, let's get this party started. 10 minutes. All right, man. All right.
Yeah.
Okay.
Sounds good.
All right. Hey, man.
Sia's wearing red, though. I gotta warn you guys. So, no, you don't understand, Sia. You're representing Microsoft. No, but it's a running gag, right? Like if you wear red, then the market goes down.
What does that mean, though? You're representing Microsoft.
It's good today, girl.
Did you look at the? Yeah, you got. And I mean. Yeah, exactly. There we go. We get the inverse. There she goes. She knows where she's got going. I haven't seen Joey in a while. It says Super Coke, 496. What do you mean?
I've been here every day.
I've been here.
Maybe because you were a couple of weeks off.
Yeah, I was a couple of weeks with the old with the knee. There.
Farm Trader. My father used to work at BE. No way. Just don't want you to get wrecked. It's been good trade, but the tech is. Oh, really? Eh? That's how, okay, good to know, brother. Thank you for being honest like that. I do appreciate that it's kind of so-so, huh? Okay, that is good to know. I will definitely throw in some stops there if that is the case. But been holding this one for a while. Shout out to Mitch, man. Money Mitch. You guys remember Money Mitch. This was his call. I knew about Bloom Energy since basically the pandemic. It was on my green energy hydrogen watch list that I have on the side there, but I never really thought to punch into it, nor did I make the connection of the data centers. And then when it started breaking out, everybody's looking at it, and I think probably a lot of people got caught offside short there too, because that would have parabolic moves that didn't really make sense with the fundamentals. But shout out to Farm Trader. I appreciate your honesty, and I appreciate you telling me that.
All right, good stuff, man. I mean, quality apple here as well, too. I think that's been a pretty good thing.
All right.
Hey, man, you know what they say, right? Apple a day keeps the doctor away. So make sure you get that fruit in and remain healthy. Hit the gym today. Have you hit the gym? Did you hit the gym this week? Put it in the chat. We're going to go yes. We hit on multiple occasions. Yes, I didn't because his stomach wasn't feeling too good. That bacon that we had yesterday wasn't it, man. It just wasn't it. You want to just go with the flow? No, says Marco.
Marco,
what the
come
heck,
on, bro.
Man? No,
Mike,
says Mike Peter. Right, others think
really?
yes. You finally got a yes in the chat.
Thank you,
We'll
others
hit this.
think. QF stops.
QF stops saying yes. You hit the gym. Yes, sir, says JR.
Bristol.
Every day. Oh, okay, Mike Peter says yes. Bristol saying yes. Dunder Clover, you better be going there after this
I
market.
haven't gymmed in a decade. Apple
Don't ever say,
come on now.
hold on, mentally unemployed. Don't ever put "naw" in here again like that, like you do that consecutively.
Mentally unemployed.
Take that one. Clutch one. Get out of here. What's gym? Don't write that stuff in here.
Gym?
Yeah, that's
What is
madness,
happening?
man. I don't know what's going on
What is
in
the
here.
point of having money if you don't have health? Right? Like, you gotta make sure that you're gonna have the health to enjoy.
I mean,
money,
and it gets even worse if you have no money and you don't have health either.
Exactly.
So like things get really bad on that end, right? So you don't want to be going down that slippery slope. So all right, guys, let's get right back into these markets. So make sure you stay relatively healthy here, guys. We're gonna go through some scans once again. I'll go over my trades here, but I'm in no rush to get involved with anything else. IREN was that guy today, up more than 10% at one point. Silver, we take 2 losses, 1 break even, and IBIT, we take 1 loss on that one. So what was it, 3 losses, 1 big win, and a couple break eveners? That's all you need for the day, Sharif. So we want to end it on a positive note.
Like hearing that, Joey.
Yeah, that's it, man. So no rush to get involved in anything. AI, C3 AI, putting in a session as well, too, guys, like straight to the top side. A big recovery in the overall market. CrowdStrike back up to 390. Let's go cyber. Let's see what that First Trust Nasdaq cybersecurity. This is the ETF getting slacked here, Sharif. $78.
Getting smacked, eh?
Yeah, but only down 15%. Nothing horrible, nothing horrible. Uh-oh, that's not a good sign there, guys. Not a good sign there. I see Applied Digital. Nice recovery and a strong intraday session there. So creating future. What do you got going on there?
I'm going to try to build the
Let's do it, man.
Zeekr
We haven't
9X.
done this in a while, man.
It's
Let's
been a minute.
build it,
I'm trying to
man.
look for it, man. The Zeekr, the one that I want, Joey, is the 9X. So the model, Zeekr 001, Zeekr 009. What is this crap, man? Where are the 9X at? I don't even know where it's at, Joseph. Models. I don't even think they have it.
You can't even build it.
Maybe we have to change the jurisdiction. So let's go to, well, they have everything in Bahrain. Let's go Dubai. Where's Dubai at? Qatar? Okay, definitely Qatar, right? Let's see. Models. Bro, they don't have it. They don't have it there. Like, why do they have? All right, let's change this.
Build a Xiaomi or something, man.
Man, bunda Xiaomi, my boy. We want to see the. Now, hold on, I'm trying to find the. Okay, let's just go global. I don't understand. Maybe it's a new one or something, and they don't have the 9X. Guys, why don't they have the 9X? Do you guys know why? Like, is there anybody that's that knows the Zeekr family? Because this is, all right. Well, they don't have it, Joey, so I don't want to build it. EV Marketplace. This is the one I was talking about, guys. This is like, look at this, 76,000 US.
For their Cullinan.
This is like the Cullinan, man. I love this. And the spec on this, you can get it a zillion different specs on this.
Look at the black.
Yeah, the black is just next level. Imagine that blacked out. And it's got LiDAR. I know you're a fan of LiDAR. This is not even the good spec because they have the double monitors.
Wow.
Right? Like, this is the crappy spec. Maybe they, anyway.
I mean,
black with white inside,
crazy.
yes. That is definitely.
Ooh, Top VoIP throwing some shots there as well, saying,
What do you say?
Timo make those cards.
Yes, that's what everybody says about Chinese products. I disagree. I think China, you pay for what you get. You can get from the lowest quality crap, and you can get the best stuff. So it really is about what you want. And you know what the running theme is with people who go and do business in China?
What's that?
That want to bring in products and sell it here. You go and you check out the factory. and you don't check out the factory, like the factory floor.
Yeah.
You go to the residences because a lot of
where they
people-
all live?
Yes, and then you look at how many a room they have. If it's 2 to a room, it's okay. 3 to a room, you get the hell out of there.
Oh, yeah.
1 to a room, you know it's a healthy factory,
Yeah.
and you go with that. Yeah, apparently that
sounds like a lot of work.
Tricks of the trade. Yeah, well, you got to put in the work, Joey.
All right, man.
Adam James, my man. Q's back at this monstrous 608 margin mark. Sorry, again. Yo, guys, yes, absolutely. We are back there. At least we're above 600. We're up 1 4/5 on the Qs. The Dow, though, leading the way. Well, it's not actually. The Russell 2000, the IWM is up 3 1/3, almost. The Dow's up 2.15. The SPY is the one that's lagging, but it was also the one that got clipped the least yesterday, up 1 2/3. So more pleased I could not be, man. Yo, we are barely off the highs on the SPY. Let's take a look at this, guys, before we start the new segment. This is where we're at right now, and this is all-time highs. Joseph, we're 1.5% off the all-time highs on the SPY.
Yeah.
What was this panic that everybody was in? Yeah, the Nasdaq, to be fair, Katina, man, yes, the Nasdaq obviously got flushed hard, but the SPY obviously more representative of the market at large. We're 1.5% off the highs. Let's see where we're on the Qs. Well, we're definitely a lot lower. So all-time highs on the Qs at what, 637.5. Current price action, we're 4.5% off. We didn't even get to correction territory, let alone bear market. So, yeah. The panic was more in the Qs than the SPY. Yes, I completely get that, Gaurav. You had 3 ugly, ugly days on the SPY, 3 in a row, too. On the Qs, sorry. Excuse me. And you did break trend. But what I did like is that we held this low back from November. Who remembers that low? The double bottom there, 1120 and 1121. We didn't even come close to that. That was a lot lower. That was about 580. We basically defended 590 yesterday. This is the Qs, by the way. Yeah, so anything you want to add, Joseph, before we send it up to Sia with the new segment?
No, sir.
All right, Sia, you good to go? Give me the thumbs up. All right, she's good to go. Assassino, let's get to work. All right, Sia, you're muted. Yeah, you got to get that taken care of, girl. There you go, good.
Thank you so much. Hi, guys. So we're going to start by talking about Amazon. Amazon currently down 5.55%. We know why. Sliding on Capex, but beta TPS, it's currently at 1.95 versus the 1.97, which was expected. Not too bad, a modest miss. Revenue at 2.13.39 billion versus the 2.11.33 billion expected, and net income at 21.19 billion, which is up from 20 billion a year ago. Let's move on to AWS. AWS revenue at 35.58 billion versus the 34.93 billion expected, with a 24% year-over-year growth. Management also emphasized the strength in AI and non-AI workloads. Advertising revenue at $21.32 billion versus $21.16 billion expected, up 23% year-over-year. And Amazon also has forecasted 2026 Capex of $200 billion, which is far above street expectations, near $146.6 billion, and up sharply in the year from the year 2025, which was $131 billion. Spending is also expected to flow predominantly in AWS, including all the AI data centers, chips, and robotics.
All right, so here's what I want to talk about. I want to talk about a couple of things. Number one, we're going to talk about the Capex, but Joseph, look at this. Let's make this comparison. You know what they brought in for AWS revenue?
Yeah, it was insane.
35, a little bit more than 35.5 billion.
Yeah.
Okay, that's 70% odd, some odd gross margins. But you want to know what their advertising revenue is? Advertising is catching up to AWS now. $21.33 billion in advertising, and guess what? The gross margins are there. Mid-80s, mid to high 80s. This could actually outdo AWS, I don't know, maybe in like 3 or 4 years, maybe less, because it's a higher margin product that they're selling by about 10 percentage points, which is good. And, you know, quite frankly, it possibly a bigger TAM for advertising than for AWS, which is B2B. This is B2B and B2C. So I really like the fact that their advertising revenue is rocketing up. It's up 23% year over year. To be fair to it, AWS is growing faster. So that's my immediate look there. Obviously, I don't like the miss on the bottom line with EPS coming in at $1.95. The street was looking for $1.97, but that could have something to do with the insane amount of CapEx they're spending. Speaking of that CapEx, 2026 CapEx, $200 billion. Like, how did the street get it wrong for everybody? They got it wrong for Meta. They got it wrong for Google. They got it wrong for Amazon. Like, and not by like 5 or 10 billion, Joey.
Yeah.
But like 50, 60 billion dollars.
But this is like the factor in which we talk about surprise, right? And then maybe with the surprise due to the CapEx, the street not liking it, hence why you're seeing these big boys down a little bit more, because they're spending more than what the street is actually anticipating. And then that's when you really get those substantial moves, whether it be to the top side or to the downside. Now, if it was the other way around, you would see Amazon climb 10%, not be down 10% roughly. But as for Walmart, I want to talk a little bit about Walmart here, because what we have going on essentially is we thought that we had a really, really big neck-and-neck race between Walmart and, I mean, they're obviously two different beasts, but we were a little bit fearsome of what Walmart could be doing from an e-commerce standpoint. Well, guess what? North American sales are growing at a double clip than what we have in Walmart. Relatively the same overseas, but I don't think Walmart is going to be as fearful as we thought as from a competitive standpoint with Amazon. Everything else is continuously growing. I mean, we talked about it. You got North America growing 10% year over year, 127 billion international at 17% year over year with Forex neutral, which is pretty big there, sure, 50.7 billion. AWS as well too at the 24% clip rate. And we talk about them like it's like Tesla and robotics, and like eventually they're just going to throw the car business to the side. I'm not going to say that necessarily with AWS and compared to the e-commerce sector, but watch out for this continuously growing, and then and the margins being substantially higher as well too. That's massive for Amazon. This selling, I think, in my opinion, is just a buying opportunity in all of these big boys.
All right, I just want, before we go to Adara, shout out to Frederick. Thank you very much, brother, for the $10 super chat. He's dropping cash in the chat. No need to hit the gym here. The average stolen paper towel dispenser weighs 5 pounds. There's 88 bathrooms at Foxborough Stadium, each with 6 dispensers on the wall. 88 times 6 times 5. This guy, you're killing me, bro.
Yo, bro.
2,640 pounds, and Sunday is leg day. Attaboy. I appreciate that. I do love your humor, man. Shout out to Frederick. That is funny. Adara, please give us your take on Amazon.
Yeah, I think the CapEx is kind of interesting. So I did some research last night just on my own because I was kind of curious, and I wanted to see all of the Meg 7's CapEx. Unfortunately, Meta and Amazon, I shout out to them because they're the only ones that put it on their 10Ks, because I literally was going through Edgar and the SEC filings trying to find CapEx information. So shout out to you two. Microsoft, Apple, Google, what are you guys doing? Why can't I find your CapEx info in your fiscal reports? But either way, I digress. The point I'm trying to make here is I just wanted to kind of go and like see the history of CapEx growth, right? Because Meta, blue line, Amazon, obviously this yellow line here, this was relatively stagnant, this metric, more or less, like slow, steady growth, not really declining, until 2020 is when we really, really pop up. Now, obviously, Amazon growing more than Meta, or I guess growing to higher than Meta, but the point is there is still, for both, market growth, especially for Amazon here in 2020. Then in both of these, we get actually a decline in CapEx in 2023, and then we ramp higher. So I find these trends to be interesting. Now, right now here, we had roughly $72 billion in CapEx for Meta in 2025. That's going to go all the way to just around here for 2026, midpoint there around $120 billion. But Amazon's will be quite literally off this chart because it's going to be $200 billion. So I want to kind of contextualize the CapEx guidance in terms of what's been reported prior. Now let's also talk, I like that Sharif mentioned AWS, because AWS here as well is notable. This growth, 24%, I was seeing this is the highest AWS growth we've had in quite some time. So not only is this metric growing, it's growing at a greater rate than we've seen in a while. Obviously, North American revenue still the largest portion or makes up the largest part here of Amazon's revenue. But international growth, not bad here either, 17%. In fact, international revenue growth increased on a quarter-over-quarter basis, while North American growth slowed on a sequential basis. So obviously this is minor, but I do think, you know, we hear a lot about the top and bottom line. So what I like to do here is kind of analyze smaller portions and maybe more micro portions of these earnings reports so we can get a better sense. Either way, if you enjoy this kind of micro analysis, please join me over on X at TTV Research and during this 1 p.m. segment, because I will opine from time to time.
Thank you very much on that. Sia, what do we have next?
Next up, we have Tesla. Tesla's China-produced EV deliveries have risen in January 2026 alone by 9% to 69,129 units, which is not bad, modest growth in a slowing EV environment, I would say. The Shanghai Gigafactory output has placed Tesla among the third EV makers in China, well behind, as we know it, you guessed it right, BYD at 205,518 units, and Geely, 124,252 units. And also, despite higher January shipments, there is very little evidence of consumer demand in China. CPCA data is also backing this up and showing that Tesla's China-produced EV sales have fallen 4.8% alone in 2025, and new vehicle registrations in Europe have ticked slightly higher, but there is global momentum that is still uneven. And Tesla is continuing to face intense pricing pressure by its competitor BYD, as we know it, and other lower-cost Chinese competitors. Here's how. The Model 3 base price is at 235,500 yuan, and it's nearly 3 times the price of BYD's Seal base model, which stands at 79,800 yuan. Big jump over there. To stay competitive, Tesla is now offering a 5-year 0% financing or 7-year ultra-low interest loans for orders that are placed before 28th of February. What do you have to say, guys?
What I have to say is that number that I just yelled at when you were saying it. Joey, base Model 3, China.
Yeah.
Okay, Model 3, so Tesla, 235,000 and a half yen. Okay, 235,000.
Yeah.
Okay, the comparable BYD Seal, 79,800 yuan.
Yeah.
Bro, I mean, do we see why the Chinese EVs proliferate everywhere they frickin' go?
Obviously.
300% year-over-year increase in registrations in England doesn't happen by accident.
No.
There has to be something that's moving the needle, and price is it, man.
Absolutely, man. And like, we talk about this quite often, is when you hold the majority of the market share, but you have these Chinese EVs just taking Europe by storm, essentially, and you can only go one way when you hold the most, right? And we say that with NVDA and everything along those lines. But if you have identical vehicles with even potentially more and better technology in it, like, look, these things look completely souped up from a tech standpoint, whether it be the Xiaomi or the BYDs. On the inside, these things look extremely advanced, and they're at like 30 to 40% cheaper than what Tesla's selling them. And you know what, Sharif? I'm going to say this. I think we talk about robotics and everything along those lines. Mm-hmm. Have you seen these Chinese robots?
They're great.
They're substantially better than what Optimus is right now, if you ask me. So it's like, okay, yeah, we got Tesla, but why? Yeah. How are you going to declare victory when some of this tech, I've never been over there, but some of this tech, from what I'm seeing from an internet standpoint, looks substantially better than what the Tesla is offering. So, and these vehicles are amazing. Facts, look at the technology in these things. It's absolutely insane, and things that we don't even get to experience, really. So if I'm Tesla, I'm looking behind me at all costs and seeing what I can do to play catch up, because I think that's where it's going to lead to. Tesla will eventually have to play catch up, whether it be in robotics or anything, and especially in the EV space.
Yeah, just before we show my screen, I just want to read one quick thing. Thank you, Papacito, for the 17.9 shekels. Thanks for the show. Made $1,000 on SMX. That pleases me greatly, man. And gave back 300. That doesn't matter. That means you're up $700, baby. Stopped out 3 times. Profit 2 times, was worth it anyway. Best show in the whole world for me. Thank you so much, man. That is very kind of you to say stuff like that. Shout out to Papacito, coming out from Israel, dropping 17.9 shekels. Very kind of you, brother. And yeah, stick with us. We're doing it every day, as you know. The real Gary F. Sharif. Any idea what Chinese EV owners in Europe do for service repairs? They got centers there, man. They have presence there now. That's what we're saying. That's why we were saying when they come to Canada that Tesla may be ahead of them, because Tesla is going to send some Model Y, Shanghai-produced Model Ys, I should say, to Canada under the new trade agreement with China. But They are coming here. They're going to have dealerships, service centers, etc. And I was making the case that Geely could be the best suited to be in Canada first. Why? Because they own Polestar, they own Volvo, so they already have sales centers here that they could just kind of put, you know, what's it called? A Geely attachment to it, much like what Mercedes did with Smart Car or BMW did with Mini. Remember that? When they added those to the dealerships? So that's kind of what I'm thinking there. They're gonna have service centers, they're gonna have dealerships, etc. And here's what I wanna show Assassino. This is the BYD seal. This is the competitor to the Model Y. Let's take a, this is nice, look at this, bro.
Yeah.
Look at this, man.
We have people in the chat. We have someone in the chat who's hurt, their feelings are hurt because I said some of the Chinese techs is better than what we got going over here. Look at the inside of this vehicle, and that's like a standard model.
It is better tech.
Yeah, so
it's not like they know how to do it and we don't. They're including it in the car.
I would absolutely, I would love to. I would truly love to meet you in person. I truly would. I truly would.
All right, this is the BYD right now, guys. I'm just showing you the seal. This is not a bad-looking car. I think we can all agree. This looks pretty cool. And quite frankly, from a traditional car perspective, it's not as minimalist as the Model Y. You're getting a center console display where you don't get that in the Model Y. You're getting stalks where you don't get that in the Model Y. You're getting a regular shift knob and some buttons. You're not going to get that in the Model Y. You're going to have to do everything on the screen. And this has a big-ass screen as well. So I'm excited to have these here, man. I got to tell you the truth. I'm going to be, you know, pretty selective about the next car that I get. But hey, man. That you get my, if you have a better product, you're gonna get my money. So simple as that. All right, Sia, what do we got?
Next up, we have Stellantis, the automaker company. The shares of the company have collapsed 23% in Europe and 21% pre-market in the United States after announcing a 22 billion euro, which is $26 billion write-down for certain business sweeping reset. Management has also framed the charge as a consequence of overestimating the pace of the energy transition and misaligning products with consumer affordability and demand. CEO Antonio Filosa signaled a pullback from an aggressive EV timeline, saying electrification will proceed governed by demand rather than command. The company also pre-released Q4 figures and expects a net loss of 2025 for 2025, and also responds, Stellantis suspended its 2026 division and plans to raise up to 5 billion euros via hybrid bond insurance to protect their liquidity.
So here's the Assassino, if we can, please. This is the chart, Joseph Options. Look at this. This is where we were in the tariff, sorry, not the tariff, the COVID lows. This is Stellantis. I was telling Brendo, I'm like, I might buy Stellantis here. I think very little of the cars that they have to produce, but I like how the company is recognizing that they upped up and they're going to change their tune. Now, to be fair to them, the government pushed them in that way, whether it was the Biden administration or the Trudeau government in this country. They kept pushing them for that EV mandate. No, you got to phase out ICE vehicles, get those electric cars on the road, even though the consumer didn't want them. Now, they're going to right-size the company. So I like these technical levels. I might be hitting the buy button on Stellantis here. This is a very, very important technical level. This is the COVID low that we got into about, I think, $6. What's the actual low? We spent very little time there. The low is exactly $5.60. Today, the low is $6.76. Again, you know, I'm not a big fan of Stellantis vehicles. I still like some of the Jeeps, like the Wagoneer. I heard it has problems. I like the Grand Cherokee. I used to own a Grand Cherokee. My parents gave it to me when I graduated university. But, you know, I still have a love for Jeep. I think that the Wrangler is well loved, and it comes in a variety of different models. So I might be hitting the buy button here, but I do like the fact that they're recognizing not the error of their own ways, but the error of the ways that they were pursuing. And now they're going to right-size the company. Joseph, what do you have to say?
Yeah, I mean, some interesting stuff here with Stellantis. Not something that we keep an eye on all the time, but I mean, operating income was negative at 1.5 billion there, Sharif. The company booked 22 billion in extraordinary charges, which is never good. No. 14.7 in product and 2 billion in supply chain issues there. It's a typical vehicle thing. You know what I mean? It's just like these charges are coming from somewhere you don't know. They're struggling to perform relatively well, but mid to single digit net revenue revenue growth. Like, come on, man. Mid-single-digit revenue growth expected with low single-digit adjusted operating income. It's a little bit of a tough role here in some of these car companies. I don't know about punching long Stellantis. I think there's just too much going on.
Out though. You lose the COVID lows, Joseph. I'm gone. It's that simple. I risk $2 a share.
That's fair. I just feel with everyone undermining each other and the Chinese EVs just continuously dominating the space by just sending you lower and lower prices, I think some of these automakers.
You're not wrong. You're definitely not wrong about that. But I was telling Brendo as well this morning. Do you see the Charger EV that they put out?
No.
Charger, like a two-door Charger, I think. The Challenger or the Charger. Anyway, they pump fake noise. It's not even a hybrid. It's electric. And they're trying to kind of give it the whole muscle car vibe. What?
Yeah.
What?
Yeah.
Everybody gives this thing a zero. So they had dumbass cars that they were forced into, I think, my personal opinion. I don't think they want to go down that road. And now they're going to right-size the company. I don't think we're going to get dumbass vehicles anymore from this company. Okay. But Dylan, he's got strong opinions there. Dylan's like, yo, bro, they're going to head into bankruptcy, my guy. Okay. If they lose $5, I'm out. It's really that simple. It's a technical trade. But what do you do when the Chinese government decides to shut down the subsidies? I'm assuming you're talking about the Chinese EVs. I don't think they're getting as much in the way of subsidies anymore as you think. Moreover, the car companies here got plenty of subsidies, whether it's government money to fund, what's that called, Volta, or that European crap company that's now bankrupt and run off with taxpayers' money. That was supposed to actually build a battery plant in Quebec. We've actually funded the electric vehicle build out substantially, both at the provincial level and at the federal level. So I've always been making that argument. The Chinese EVs, everybody says, oh, unfair advantage because they're subsidized. Well, I don't think they're getting any more subsidies, or if they are, it's not the same extent. Moreover, we subsidize our own cars over here. So I never really understood that whole thing, but I do see your point. Let's see more comments over here. Mr. Leahy, don't they want like 85K for that thing? Demuro has a vid on it. Yes, exactly. Demuro crapped on that car because it is crap. We're talking about Doug Demuro, of course. He's one of the guys on YouTube that reviews these cars. Max bet all in. Sharif, if you ever owned a Wrangler, you'd know they're hot garbage long term. Just super cool in the summer. That's fair. I think I've heard that a lot. Well, I've heard a lot. The Stellantis cars, Chrysler, Dodge, Jeep, they have issues. You've never heard that?
Yeah, of course. I mean, every vehicle has some form of issue, whether you're going with Range Rover, everybody said that has an issue.
So you gotta keep that under warranty.
BMW, break my wallet, as they like to typically call it. Like, what vehicle, other than a Honda or a Toyota, I don't understand.
What?
What'd you say? A Toyota.
It's not a Toyota, Toyota. Come on, bro.
Man.
Come with
Toyota,
it. Come with it,
Toyota. Other than those ones, like, which you can run to the ground, which vehicle doesn't have any issue?
That's fair.
Right?
All right, let's send it to Sia with the next topic.
We're going to talk about Bitcoin. Bitcoin has bounced after narrowly holding about $60,000, rebounding to $66,000 early today. Move has also come after as we know it, prolonged bear market that had begun once Bitcoin had peaked above 126,000 in October of 2025, which had left the asset now more than 40% below its all-time high. And the increased volatility to discuss here in gold and silver has added to cross-asset instability, contributing to risk reduction across certain portfolios. And another thing to note here, on Thursday alone, over $2 billion in long and short crypto positions were liquidated, followed by $800 million early on Friday today. And these liquidations obviously have all created sell pressure.
All right, Joey, I'm going to send this to you because you're the Bitcoin guy. Well, yeah, you're the one that got me in Bitcoin. What are your feelings right now? Like, just cut the crap and come with it.
Yeah. Okay, so this is my feeling. I think, like I mentioned, you remember my speedboat and cruise ship analogy?
Yes, sir.
I think things take significantly longer to turn around than which we were expecting.
I agree.
Do I see a V-shaped reversal in Bitcoin? No. Can it happen? Absolutely. Anything can happen. But what we've experienced since the IBIT IPO, we've gone through these multi-month consolidations. We take a leg higher, we take a leg lower, et cetera. You go back into another multi-month consolidation. That's the narrative in which I stand. end. Don't forget, we're only in, I think we're the second year now of this halving cycle. We got 2 more years. Okay, we have 2 more years before we have Bitcoin once again to the point where you're only getting fractions of it. I think you're still catching a little bit more than a full one. I can't recall right now. Let me know in the chat as well. What am I thinking? And I said this, I wish I could pull it up on my X account. When we hit 126K, something was fishy. And I said crypto winter. I just put a little post on my X account. This was around the time. Yeah, I'm going to find it. Yeah, I found it because something was weird. I'm like, I thought we were going to go have that accelerant and head into 150 or the $250,000 in which Sean's boy, Tom Lee, was saying, and Michael and Saylor were saying, $250,000, 150K Bitcoin. Yeah, there we go. Like, this is them discussing Bitcoin at 150K right now. And they're like, we trapped them all. They're like, haha, we got them. That's what they're doing right there. It's like, we got them in BM&R at the peaks, and we got them in all these things. But in all seriousness, I think it's going to take a little bit longer for this asset to turn around. I don't think we see, and I hope that I'm wrong, but I think it's going to be a little bit longer down the road than which we are expecting to see Bitcoin at a new all-time high.
All right. Thank you very much to Paulus, 8859 at Trader TV Live. Great show. Enjoyed every day. Thanks. Have a good weekend. You have a fantastic weekend as well. And thank you very much for the 30. Katina, man, do you know how to say the Polish currency? It's like how do you say it, man? Does anybody, Grozy? So can someone tag me in the chat, please, and educate this, uncultured individual myself over here, how to say it? Please and thank you, because I don't know how to say it, but thank you very much for that. Now, here's my take on Bitcoin. I'm worried that the institutional buyers weren't there, and they were supposed to kind of be that, stabilizing force. They were the ones that were going to punch into the ETFs. They were the ones that, that were going to create that floor, that price floor. We didn't get that at all. In fact, now when you look at the data, the institutional buyers, or in this case, now they're net sellers in 2026, and we're like a month and a week deep. So that does concern me. They accumulated, I think, about 40 to 45,000 Bitcoin. I'm talking about the institutional buyers last year. And I don't know what percentage they sold of that, but they certainly sold a lot in that.
So this is, sorry to interrupt you. So this is what I'm hearing, right? So what we have is we have the introduction to the Bitcoin ETF, essentially. Yep. Right? So, and then now you're getting a little bit more popularity. The institutions are like, hey, we need to get a hold of our things. So where are they going to get this, the actual coin itself? Well, off of the open market. And this is what I'm hearing, right? This is just me elaborating what I'm hearing. So you have all of these crypto whales who made their money over time, now transferring all of their Bitcoin over to the institutional sharks themselves. So with that being said, you had that multi-month consolidation, but when you start that distribution phase is when it really starts to run into that selling. And don't forget, for every seller, there's a buyer. So someone's buying this stuff at lower prices, and a lot of the and the chances are it's probably these bigger individuals. Why? Because they have longer time frames. So what I'm getting at here essentially is you had the release of the spot Bitcoin ETF, the best successful one, GBTC, went to garbage. Why? Too many management fees. Kathy Woods has hers. No one really cares about that one. This is iShares. So when you have that accumulation phase and the distribution into the large institutions, it held up relatively well, but then it started to get really, really aggressive. So in the long run, what I think is happening is just a distribution from the previous whales giving their Bitcoin up to the institutions at this current market, right? That's the thesis in behind.
I don't think
when I watch Crypto World on you would like to call it CNBS, that's essentially what is going on behind the scenes.
What I heard as well was that the tech sell-off was linked to Bitcoin as well. And
but Bitcoin
hold on, let me make my point. Let me make my point. So when you come in and in your brokerage, you have some IBIT, you have some Tesla, you have some whatever else, right? And so your Bitcoin is substantially out of the money. You get the call, you get the margin call.
Yeah.
You don't want to close your Bitcoin because you want to add into these lows, but your exchange is not allowing you. So you've got to unload something. So what I was hearing was a lot of people were unloading their tech so that they wouldn't get margin called so they could add into Bitcoin. Whether you believe that or not, that's what another article that I was reading this morning that was saying. So
have a good day, Resonating Tone 2023. Resonating Tone 2023. There you go. Resonating Tone. Jeez.
See, we can skip the next one because it's kind of a little bit repetitive about the crypto market structure because nothing really got done. So let's send it back to Sia and we're going to talk a little chips.
About the chips, let's talk about the AI server boom. AMD and Intel are facing tightening server CPU supplies in China as AI infrastructure demand is kind of straining the global chip pipeline. And Intel warned that delivery lead times for server CPUs could stretch up to 6 months, and the shortage has already pushed Intel server CPU prices in China up more than 10%. And I would say AMD shares are up 74% over the past 12 months. There's certain enthusiasm around AI data centers, as we're all aware, and Intel shares have gained 148% over the same period, driven by a combination of the AI momentum, optimism, server traction, and restructuring expectations.
This is kind of what we talked to you guys, I think, about a week ago when we had, or whatever it was, a week and a half, when we had Intel's earnings. What did the earnings report say? It said that there was insane demand for their server CPUs, so much so that they could increase the price and increase it markedly and still have very little in the way of demand destruction. And that's exactly what we're seeing. We're seeing a manifestation of that part of the earnings where their China demand is through the roof. And so they're basically saying 6-month backlog, 8-week backlog in terms of AMD because, well, you need CPUs as well as GPUs for these AI servers. What I didn't know, Joseph, was that 20% of Intel's revenue comes from China. I didn't know that they still had that kind of China exposure. Quite frankly, we've seen AMD's dwindle. We've seen NVIDIA's all but go to zero, according to Jensen himself. So this is something that I wasn't aware of, but what I was aware of was the insane demand for CPUs for data centers and the fact that they were going to increase their margins based upon that data set. So I see good moves here possibly for Intel and AMD from a CPU side.
I think so, right? That's the narrative, and Lip-Bu's been doing a pretty good opinion. But again, it's so weird because we talk about the technology, and I was just referring to some of these Chinese EVs. But then when you get into the stack of things, China is still reliant, it seems to be the case, with the requirement of obviously a lot of Intel's revenue coming from China now, as you mentioned. You have the H20 in demand as well, too. They want AMD's chips as well. Sure. So it's like, hey, when you really start to open things up, where do we lie here? And I think it's a really tough thing to gauge because how is one country have the ability to make everything look good? Is it more or less cosmetic? Is it not? But when you get into the nitty-gritty things, you still want the chips, you want the CPUs, you want the GPUs of what NVDA and the American corporations have. So it's an interesting thing.
It definitely is an interesting thing. And one other thing I would say is that the Chinese are still behind when it comes to, the higher end chips. And I really mean anything 7 nanometers and lower. Right now, we did see Huawei, really surprise the world with the Mate Pro, I think about a couple of years ago now, where they were able to make 5G chips en masse. And I think it was similar or akin to either 5 or 4 nanometer if you want to compare it to Taiwan Semi. But what the case has always been is that when it comes to the 4, 3, 2, all the smaller and more advanced chips, the Chinese just can't do it, right? And you're probably seeing exactly the manifestation of that because they're still relying on AMD and Intel's chips, at least at the higher level. See ya.
Moving on to microchip technology, MCHP reported a Q4 EPS of 44 cents, beating the Zacks estimate of 43 cents and more than doubling 20 cents EPS from a year ago after certain adjustments. Earnings grew 138.8% year over year with a 6.06% surprise, making the 4th straight quarter of EPS growth and EPS beats. Revenue came in at $1.19 billion, which is slightly above the consensus and up from the $1.03 billion last year, also beating the estimates for the 4th consecutive quarter. MCHP shares are up 22.8% year to date.
Yes, Sam 99. That's exactly it, brother. ASML is the supply chain bottleneck. It's not just ASML on their own. ASML also relies on Carl Zeiss for the mirrors, neither of which will be sold to China. Carl Zeiss is German, and we obviously know ASML is Dutch. They're not American, but the Americans, let's just cut the crap, control whether they can sell it to China or not, right? It's the Americans that are putting their foot down here. So Yes, they can get it done, but they don't have the extreme ultraviolet lithography. We know that, and that is where, you know, the headline risk for ASML is. And that's been saying that over and over about ASML. The second you get, you know, wind that the Chinese have duplicated, replicated their technology in any way, shape, or form, not the deep ultraviolet, the extreme ultraviolet, you're going to see ASML drop. Now, I'm an ASML shareholder. It's the second largest position that I have, but I am very acutely aware that it is subject to headline risk. So keep that in mind. Now, MCHP, this is a company that I was invested in. I got out of it yesterday before the earnings. I wanted kind of to get out of this. Now, we did good on this one. My understanding is they're very much like Texas Instruments in that they specialize in the non-advanced chips, so like 7 nanometers and up, because that's what your microwave, your oven, your dishwasher, and obviously dryer, all these use these non-advanced chips, and that's where MCHP kind of shines. I wrote it for a little bit, but you know, it's super low beta, and so I got the hell out of it. Joey, MCHP.
Yeah, all right. Yeah, I mean, again, not something that we're overly familiar with. The guidance doesn't seem too bad here, Sharif, on MCHP. Net sales, we're looking at 1.26 billion. That's going to be plus 20 million, and that's going to be 6.2% quarter over quarter, or 29.8% year over year at midpoint. Non-GAAP gross margins, 60.5 to 61% operating margins. Not bad. 28 to 30% there. Diluted EPS of around 48 to 52 cents a share. Let's pull up MCHP because that's not a name that we talk about quite often here on the show. MCHP. Let's see what we got going on.
I asked the chat one time if they thought that was a head and shoulders pattern, and like I think 90% of the people said no. And what do you look at it, Joey? Do you see anything there? You know, head
no, I don't really see anything here. But a nice bounce off. I guess we looked at it before, right? Where we drew this trend line, you get that bounce off of it, and it looks like that move is going to be sustained. You're not running into a past supply zone, so keep an eye out there for MCHP. Interesting name here, guys.
Yeah. All right. See ya. What do we got next?
Talking about Roblox next, this is an important topic, and I really intrigued and interested. Roblox shares have jumped as much as 20% after hours, after the company delivered a clear top-line beat in Q4. Losses have come in at 45 cents per share compared to the expected 48 cents per share, which is narrower. Bookings have surged to $2.22 billion, well ahead of the $2.05 billion consensus. And average daily active users have reached 144 million, up 69% year over year, which is beating the expectations of 138 million. Q4 bookings have also risen by 63% year over year. Roblox has also guided Q1 bookings to 1.69 billion to 1.74 billion, which is topping street estimates of 1.68 billion. And this also supports the post-earning move. The company also announced that it will stop issuing annual guidance starting 2027, citing business variability, and will also shift to quarterly guidance only. Now, coming to the safety, age verification, and engagement trade-offs, Roblox has completed a global age verification rollout in January, following regulatory pressure and litigation tied to child safety. There have been so many cases where children have been abducted from their homes and kidnapped because of sharing certain sensitive information on Roblox. It's scary. I was watching a video yesterday on TikTok, which it was a dad expressing concern about his daughter talking in a lower voice while she was playing Roblox. Luckily, she was using a VPN, but a man kept asking her about her address, and he also commented her address in the chat, saying that we know where you live, so might as well give it up right now, which is scary. But anyways, it just says that new age data by Roblox shows that 35% of users are under 13, which is the problem. 38% are 13 to 17, and 27% are over 18. And management has acknowledged a mid-single-digit drag on engagement growth and a low single-digit headwind to bookings. I want to just end by saying that despite rising net losses, investors are also focused on growth, scale, and the operating trajectory.
Thank you very much, Sia. Benton, we're cheering for Liverpool this weekend, right, my man? Let's go Liverpool. All right, let's get to the, well, just for this one weekend, Neil. All right, here's what I want to say. Number one, this company is still losing money. I wasn't aware of that. They're still not profitable, which is surprising. Number two, you know about brain rot?
Yeah, when you have, I'm looking at the brain rot right now, Sharif. It's around 43 billion hours spent, or was it 35 billion hours spent on engagement hours. That's brain rot right there.
You're right.
You see, is that what you're getting at there?
Yes, I don't disagree with you on that. But if you know, you know, right? If you play Roblox, Neil, you know? Neil knows because his daughter plays Roblox. So brain rot, apparently, it's a thing. It's a game. These kids love it. It's apparently, you know, getting everybody's attention and nobody can get off it. So it seems to be very addictive, which is important from a revenue perspective because that means it's sticky. My only concern is you're trying to monetize these kids. You can't monetize them. You're monetizing their parents. And from what I understand and talking to some of my friends who allow their kids to play this, it's kind of they give them an allowance, so it seems to be capped, right? That's kind of where I look at it there. The other part that I look at, though, is the age verification will be a bit of a shorter-term headwind, right? You're getting Australia's doing it. I think there are a lot of jurisdictions in Europe that are also doing it that kind of want to rein in some of the minimum age here. So, and you have them acknowledging that they had a bit of a headwind there in their daily active users as a result of some jurisdictions employing these age verification technologies. So I think that will probably be a short-term headwind until it adjusts, and then maybe they go back to growth. But my issue is monetization in the same way that Snapchat tries to monetize a younger audience. It's hard. And number two, could you see maybe parents rebelling against this at some point where, you know, it just becomes, it falls out of favor and they start banning it?
You know what they need to do, Sharif? I wish I had the face slapper emoji around here. Get those kids back outside playing street hockey and football and doing all those things. Listen, I understand that gaming is pretty good for your cognitive function, right? It can help you in some ways, right? Like just going from here without having to look at anything along those lines. Thank you, JC Money, much appreciated anyways. But just going from here to here without having to look, but too much of one thing can be really bad and detrimental. I think 35 billion hours spent on this game, up 88% year over year. It's not getting any better. And we talk about the iPad generation and everything along those lines. You're right, though, Sharif. What you are essentially doing is just monetizing their parents. Roblox is a serious thing. It's interesting stuff. I've never played this game. I have no intention of playing it, or even I have no idea how it works or anything along those lines. But what I really wanted to get at is that really, like, creator development payouts were up to $477 million. That's a 70% increase year over year, which I find interesting. And the age group is very vast because Sia brought to us that over 18 is 27%.
The smallest
so
one.
those are young.
The smallest category.
It's small, but it's young adults playing with these younger individuals, right? So that's where I find, like, I get it. You go into Call of Duty, you have the odd kid in the lobby, but then he just gets destroyed and his parents kick him off the game and everything along those lines. But it's just really interesting and intriguing to me. It's just the way the chat thinks about it as well, too. Just what can happen on it as well. So
you and I talked about this.
Yeah.
Remember when they kind of blocked the Roblox vigilantes? It's a bit of, you know, it's a PR problem there. So there could be some issues there. Now, that's over a year old. If you don't know what we're talking about, some people are trying to go on Roblox to catch these predators on there. And basically, Roblox prevents them from going on anymore. They used to be called the Roblox Vigilantes. I don't know if they're still operating, maybe operating a different way.
Yeah. I mean, you're a vigilante. You got to work your way around some of the things.
Got to work your way around, right?
So it's interesting. Roblox is interesting, I mean, from a monetization standpoint.
All right, Adara, give us your take on Roblox.
Blocking vigilantes is really dicey, and not what I was intending to speak on, but I mean, it was brought up, so I will say it. The other thing I want to say, too, that again, I wasn't necessarily going to speak on, but I do still think is kind of interesting. The whole idea that, like, the main issue here with Roblox for kids is the idea that predators could get on. Now, I agree that's also very much a concern, but the other thing is, too, is what it does to kids mentally, especially young kids. We know that case in Malaysia with a 9-year-old boy who was playing Roblox and then attacked his brother because his brother took away or destroyed the machine he was using to play the Roblox. So the point is, like, I think beyond the risk of predators, also the risk of mental harm to kids too. So I think that's maybe of note as well that I do want to mention. I'm also, political reporting here. I just saw this headline, Amazon's tax bill plunges after GOP tax cuts. I would need to get more details, but I'm just seeing this headline come through, so I wanted to mention it. Let's go back to Roblox. So what I like here is revenue increasing here. This is like the entire quarter, so Q1, Q2, Q3, Q4 for these metrics here. I think it's a good look here for Q4 revenue. We have this steady growth, and at the bottom here, we're gonna have daily, this will be, I guess, the users and the hours here. What I think is interesting too is you've got these users and the hours engaged that's actually dropping, right, on a quarter-over-quarter basis. But at the same time, revenue and bookings are growing. So that shows to me, what that tells me is that, sure, you know, we are like seeing, I guess, slightly less engagement on a sequential basis. People are still spending more. So that's kind of the same with Palantir, right? We saw a bit of a decrease in customers added, but we also saw an increase in revenue. So, I mean, that's, I guess, the distribution of how people are using things. I also want to mention here Roblox revenue growth per segment in Q4. So again, in general, this shows what I'm trying to say here with the annual growth in every segment and a sequential decline in daily active users and hours engaged. So again, interesting look. Either way, though, annual growth across the board, nearly 50% minimum per each. So not a bad look, but I do want to highlight that, I guess, decline there in daily active users and hours engaged. Back to you.
Thank you very much for that. Shout out to Frederick. Another $10 super chat. Thank you very much, Frederick. Amazon is getting crushed for its CapEx spend, but how much of that money is going to TER up 9% to automate their warehouses? Amazon is going to make a ton of automation, in my opinion, so spend away. Yeah? All right, let's take a look at TER. I think, personally, though, I don't know if the CapEx was warehouse focused as much as it was AWS focused. We can take a look, do a bit of a deeper dive into that, but let's look at this. Whoa, whoa, whoa. What is this? Teradyne, $46.5 billion company, tariff tantrum low, $65. High of this week, we're not at the high, up a little bit less than 400%. TER Teradyne does as follows. Global supplier of automated test equipment and robotic solutions, designs, develops, manufactures, and sells automated test systems and robotics products. Segments include semiconductor test, robotics, and product tests. The semiconductor test segment includes operations related to design, manufacturing, and marketing of semiconductor test products and services. So I think you're right here. This might not be warehouse related. They're obviously got their hat in the ring with semiconductors. This is a fantastic look, and it is going on my watch list. The only thing that I'm gonna struggle with here is what sector I put it under. Momentarily, I'm just gonna put it under microchips and semiconductors, even though I know it doesn't belong there. But thank you very much, Frederick, for that. That is definitely a good one there, and thank you for their super chat. Sia, what do we have next?
Up, we have Reddit. Reddit has delivered a clear beat on both top and bottom line in its Q4, which has driven a 5% after-hours move, and EPS has come in at 1.24, well ahead of the 94 cents consensus estimate, and revenue has hit $726 million, topping the expectations of $665 million. It also guided a Q1 revenue to $595 million to $605 million, which is comfortably above the street expectations of 577 million. My apologies. The global DAU rose to 19% year over year from 121.4 million, and US DAU has risen from 9% year over year to 52.5 million. CEO Steve Huffman also said that Reddit has plans to phase out logged in versus logged out user reports later this year.
I just want to mention really quickly, AAPL bouncing a bit here. Now, this story looks like it's a 2-hour-old post, but it's just being circulated on social media now, and Apple is moving, so I do want to mention it. Reportedly, an OpenAI phone-like product has been delayed because apparently there was compute being delayed due to HBM shortage. OpenAI now planning to ship a simple headphone first. So long story short, Apple facing potential competition with this phone-like product, quote unquote, from OpenAI. That is reportedly delayed. Back to you.
Thank you very much, Reddit. All right. What I like immediately about this, the global daily active users rising. I'm not really too sure. I know we did a deep dive into this last time, the difference between logged in and logged out. That really isn't the focus of my concern. My concern is how long they're going to be able to monetize the selling of their data to these large language models before either a government regulator intervenes or, you know, their users kind of rebel. And I know that they have a very strong mod system there. Fabian, what are they called mods on Reddit? The Reddit people, they're called moderators? They're mods, right? Yeah, okay. So I know that they have a very strong like mod coalition, so to speak. So that does concern me, how long that kind of runway is for them. I know they can change their user agreement, et cetera, but then that could have the effect of dwindling their users, and then you could see users move somewhere else. So that is my concern, Joey, because, you know, the Reddit crowd is pretty, you know, I think they're more younger, and they definitely don't like
Wall Street bets,
their
man.
data, you know, being used by like these large companies to be monetized, especially if they're not going to see any money. What do you
They're
think
not
about
going to
that?
see any money, but Sharif, I'll tell you who is seeing some money
Who's
right
seeing
now.
money, Joey?
The advertising revenue. Did you see the year-over-year growth?
Beautiful.
Insane, 75% up to 690 million. We talked about the daily active users and the IPO on this one, so that's going to continue to grow, right? You grow in popularity, you find a way to monetize, and then sure enough, it's going to be growing at one of the fastest rates. Internationally, you're growing up 20% year-over-year as well, too. Revenue up 142 million, RDDT. I mean, the Reddit community is funny. I haven't really used the platform aside from just looking up at Bay Street bets and Wall Street bets just to see kind of where the activity is. It's not my go-to source, but I heard you and Breno talking about it here earlier this morning. It's starting to grow. I think it's been there from a popularity standpoint, but a lot more sources just heading back towards Reddit.
Like if I'm looking for like a specific spot and I want to see what people's honest opinions are, not you go and read through all the reviews, I'll tell chat, or I don't even
What
need
does
chat.
Reddit have
I'll
to
say?
say?
To Grok, for example, but like specifically look at the Reddit for Reddit sources and give me information about this topic or that topic. So I kind of narrow down the search a little bit, and it's worked. I like what, you know, a lot of the users on there have to say, especially if you're looking for something a little bit less niche.
Yeah.
Seems to be, you know, where you want to go.
I mean, we talk about fades in the IPO. I mean, March of 24, so a little bit less than a year from now. Ago, I mean, anyways, you're still up 209%. I think this has been one of the more successful IPOs that we've seen as of late.
I would say so.
Yeah.
Well, it's near the highs too.
Yeah,
all right, Adair, give us your take on Reddit.
I think I don't have too much to say here, but I like that Joe brought up ad revenue because I did come up with a little visual here on this. Now, it's interesting because you brought up the ad revenue growth, Joe, but the ad revenue growth has kind of stagnated for Reddit over the last couple quarters. So for the first 6 quarters that we're seeing reporting, Q1 24 all the way to Q2 2025, we are seeing consistent increasing year-over-year revenue growth. Then you get to Q2 with that 80% more or less revenue growth, and then you start to see a little bit of a stagnation with roughly 74-75% for both Q3 and Q4 2025. So like I said, lately I've been trying to focus more on looking at some of these growth metrics. I don't think that this kind of stagnated growth is in and of itself a bad thing. It's not like it's decreasing a lot on a sequential basis, but again, it is something that I do want to mention because I think growth, especially for a company like Reddit, is going to be an important metric to be aware of. That being said, in terms of sequential growth, for the most part, we are seeing, except for Q1 2025, we're seeing consistent increases here in that ad revenue for RDDT. This will be a metric, I think, to watch for this company without a doubt, regardless. So yeah, we'll have to see if they can get some of that growth going back in the right direction for their ad revenue year over year next quarter.
Did you have something? Did
Go
you
ahead,
talk about? Yeah, I want to just address a couple of things here in the chat. David, I haven't looked at that one, David Treziak, but also for my boy Majid Duress. Yeah. What I'm thinking here, and don't forget, I could be totally wrong, this is just my opinion. When you have heightened volatility, what does that mean? You have the VIX up a little bit, you see an increase in the VIX, but there's a little bit more fear in the market, right? With that being said, you have the increase in options premium, but what happens when volatility is cool and it really starts to cool down? There's less fear. What happens during less fear? You usually get that nice steady incline. So I like to use IV in certain setups and certain systems is like a gauge. It was heightened before, now it's really drastically starting to cool down. That is going to be my opportunity to find a potential long. So if you ask me, we have the majority of the Mag 7 have reported now. I think we're kind of out of the clear with that, but you still have some other mid-cap names that are going to be reporting. Then you obviously have NVDA coming up at the end of the month as well. Just be patient. Let the market volatility cool down. Don't be quick to jump the gun. And I'll use it one more time for the third or fourth time throughout the session. The market is not a speedboat. It doesn't always turn on a dime. It's more or less a cruise ship, and it takes a little bit of time. So just be patient, cash is a position, and then wait for those prime time opportunities to pounce. We don't always have to say anything. And I'll tell you one thing from experience. Over the past couple of years, my swing trading, when I'm more patient and I trade less and I hold positions for longer durations, highly more successful.
100%.
If I'm always constantly looking for something and it doesn't slap you in the face or punch you in the gut and say, hey, you have to take me, and you're forcing it, is when you tend to lose a little bit more. So sometimes just being more patient and putting more size into a higher conviction setup, you're better off in the long run.
Well said, Joe.
Yeah.
Well said. Sia, what do we got next?
Next up, we have one of my favorite things to report on when I'm doing the small cap is Bloom Energy. Bloom Energy has reported a Q4 revenue of $777.7 million. Love that number. Up 35.9% year over year, which is materially ahead of the $652.1 million market estimate. Big gap. And the EPS came in at 45 cents, beating the consensus of 31 cents. Full year revenue has reached a record of $2.02 billion, which is up 37.3% year over year. Bloom also posted a record gross margin for the full year and delivered its second consecutive year of positive operating cash flow. Bloom.
Yeah, this is one I'm invested in, and it's been good. It's been a data center play. It's been this what they have for data centers is called solid oxide fuel cell, SOFC. It's their energy servers. It's modular, provides base load power, and they have this other product. What was it called? It's like, I forget the name of it anyway. They also have the electrolyzers, the hydrogen electrolyzers for that clean fuel production. So it's very much a data center play. And if you've been watching why Caterpillar is moving up aggressively, is because they're building, or they source, I should say, these generators, right? Which are needed for data centers because you can't have fluctuations in the electricity that comes from the grid. So this is basically, an ancillary AI play. If you don't want to get into the chips, you don't want to get into the REITs for the actual real estate, this is another part in the stack, in the AI stack. How long it's going to be good for and whether they continue growing is kind of hard to tell. But when you look at the revenue numbers year over year, especially, it's not bad at all. And you're beating EPS estimates, you're beating revenue estimates, you're growing at a fast CAGR. So I have no issues with this one, but I don't know how long I'm going to hold it for. Joe.
It's been on a substantial run from April or from July lows, right? You're still up 444%. This thing's been on a big time move here, guys. But what I want to really look at here is the gross margins were down a little bit from Q4 last year, 31.9%. That's obviously going to come at an expense of higher costs and everything along those lines. So total cash ended around $2.5 billion, which isn't bad. The guidance isn't bad either. Revenue projected around $3.1 to $3.5 billion. That's a 55% growth at midpoint. Non-GAAP gross margins 32%. Operating income around $425 million and $475 million. But the Capex up again. Okay, here's Sharif, $150 to $200 million there in Bloom Energy. So keep an eye out on this stuff, guys. Bloom Energy up 444%. Listen, it's not really like capitulating. You're down a little bit off of these highs, but if we were looking at this from a data center play, down 22%, who knows what this name can continue to bring. I liked it for some time. I'm glad Sharif's been in it. I think he's been in it for quite some time as well, but we were talking about Bloom Energy in the lower 80s and everything along those lines. I think this name will be fine and continue to climb in the near future, to be honest.
All right. We have a lot of employees, Mr. Rookie Man, because we have two sides. We have the TV side, or the broadcasting side, and then we have the trading side on the other side. So we got a lot, man. A lot. I don't know the exact number. Sia, what do we have next?
We're going to talk about Hims and Hers versus the Novo Nordisk, which is a legal fight that's going on right now. Hims and Hers shares have reversely sharped after Novo threatened legal action over a proposed weight loss pill. Stocks have spiked 15% Thursday on the launch news, but also closed down 3.8%, a 12-month low, and then fell another 6 to 7% in the pre-market early today. Novo also called the move illegal, directly challenging Hims' right to sell a semaglutide semaglutide, based copycat pill. I'm sorry about that. I didn't want to pronounce that wrong. Hims also plans to launch a Wegovy-style pill using semaglutide. I'm so sorry, guys. At $49 for the first month and then $99 per month on subscription.
So this, to me, is like an overt breach of the patent that Novo has. And according to this article, that patent is in effect, at least in the United States, till 2032. There are exceptions, and we saw the exception with the compounding pharmacies that can make this under one exception only. There has to be a backlog from the manufacturer, what we call back order in the pharmacy game, right? If there isn't, then you can't sell it legally. And Hims is arguing its product is personalized in dosage. All right, so you patent the drug, spend billions of dollars, and then you market it at 50 milligrams. Here I come, and I market the same product at 52 milligrams, and I have a loophole. That's dumbassery right there. Okay, I mean, come on, give me a break. This is stupid. Hims is really like, you know, walking on the edge there. And Novo disputes Hims' argument there that they're personalizing the dosage. They're saying patient safety concerns and alleging a history of deceptive GLP-1 knockoffs. And we saw this, right? We saw this with the compounding pharmacies that continued to sell semaglutide after the back order was done and over, and you know nobody could stop them. They had to keep sending cease and desist letters to all these different pharmacies. And I think that Hims is just doing the same thing here. You need some patent protection, Joey. If you're going to spend billions of dollars on these drugs, you got to be given a window to make your money back and some profit. Yeah, exactly. Without other people jumping in and trying to copy your product.
Well, I mean, I mentioned this from before. All you see on Snapchat is every other ad is.
What? What happened? I don't know what happened. I'm sorry. Yeah,
it's a real word, man. It's a tomfoolery.
Here it is, baby.
Well, now it is, Neil. We just made it up, so it's a real word in our books. But anyways, aside from that, man, I talked about the advertisement on Snapchat and other social media platforms of Hims and Hers, I guess, knockoff of what we got going on here with Novo Nordisk and Eli Lilly. It's interesting. It's going to cause Hims and Hers a little bit of issue from a legal standpoint, so I'm curious to see where this takes us.
Yeah, I'm not a big fan of this. All right, give me 1 second here. Adara, give us your take on Hims.
Yeah, I mean, you guys know I love doing my fun little deep dives because I like to know more about companies, things that you might think you don't need to know, but things that I think are, you know, maybe kind of interest, including Hims and Hers has a history of controversy, specifically with regards to its weight loss drugs. Last year at the Super Bowl, they had an ad that people basically said that didn't really address any potential safety concerns or risks with the GLP-1 drug. And it was this compounded GLP-1 drug. They were like, oh, come on, here's our ad. And then everyone was like, but you guys didn't say if there were safety risks. It was not adequate. Never mind. Apparently this year's Super Bowl ad for Hims and Hers is apparently against wealthy people. And then also apparently has a Jeff Bezos lookalike that they're making fun of. So I'm sure that's going to go over great for Hims and Hers and will definitely help it in its legal battle, I say, at an attempt at sarcasm. So yeah, I mean, that's like, we got some controversy with the founder as well. He's always like going after Novo or whatever. At this point, I just feel like Hims and Hers should maybe just take a seat. I get you're trying to run a business, but I think the way in which you are trying to run your business, especially with like a heavy hitter like Novo Nordisk, and I know Novo Nordisk has lost a lot of clout, but it still has some. And Novo Nordisk isn't the only one that has, you know, had issues with Hims and Hers. We know Eli Lilly at one point responded on social media, basically pulled a Mariah Carey, we don't know her, on Hims and Hers after it said that they were, you know, selling these Eli Lilly weight loss drugs. And then Lilly was like, yeah, we're not in collaboration with you guys. Please make that clear. So long story short, Novo Nordisk is not always really good at following rules or sticking within the confines of what is quote unquote allowed or normal, just using my own quote. So we'll have to wait and see what happens there. But I just wanted to mention that with regards to HIMS, providing context as I like to do.
Thank you very much for that, Adara. All right, Sia, we got one more story, and I know you want to get to this one.
I really do. This is very interesting to me. Boeing and India and India is reportedly ready to buy up to $80 billion in Boeing aircraft. India is prepared to place aircraft orders worth up to $80 billion with Boeing, according to the Commerce Minister, Piyush Goyal, including certain engine parts, services, and a total aviation imports from the U.S. could exceed $100 billion. Goyal also suggested that India could buy $500 billion worth of U.S. goods over the next 5 years. Families, and this is something, just a little bit of a background of what's been going on here. Families of the victims from the 2024 Air India crash in Ahmedabad, this was a very, very deathly crash. If you are not aware, look it up, are suing Boeing, alleging defective dual switches played in a role in the disaster. It was actually really, really deadly. And a joint statement has finalized the first tranche of the U.S.-India trade deal. It's expected within just a few days after a formal agreement is reached in mid-March. And India's position has been criticized by the government for a lack of transparency before. We know this. And experts have warned that Trump's $500 billion purchase target may be unrealistic given India's total import levels.
Well, apparently India only imported about $45.3 billion from the U.S. in all of 2025, but that is part of $720 billion of imports that India brought in from everywhere, which highlights the scale. I don't anticipate seeing that $500 billion would be all in 1 year, let alone, maybe half a decade, if not an entire decade. But Joseph, we've been talking about the demand for Boeing, and there is no shortage of demand for their airplanes.
No.
You're seeing like Qatar Airways, Etihad,
Massive
Emirates.
backlog. You're not getting these planes for 10 years.
That's the
15
thing.
years, right?
That's the thing, right? You want these planes, sure, fantastic, we'll take your order, but get in line. Now, to be fair to Boeing, their delivery cadence is really picked up. Now,
but they were allowed to deliver more.
Well, yeah, they're allowed, and they're actually able to deliver more, right?
Yeah.
And you're seeing that not just in the 737-800 or the 737 MAX, you're seeing in the 787 a lot higher margin product on that bad boy.
Yeah.
So you got to give Boeing their
credit
clout here.
That's why I think this name should be performing significantly better than what it is. I've said for some time, there's only two really major airlines that have market share in the